Green. When I say green, I mean it started. And when I say it started, I mean you should be able to see me. Anyway. And again, oh my god, there he goes. I've had no time to select out things to watch. So we're going to go through shorts, okay? Ranking Berserk arcs. I feel like we've already seen this. Wait, is this a Ciclet video?
It's the biggest piece of dog shit that I have ever heard.
Yeah, it is a Ciclet video. We've already seen this. We're not giving Ciclet free views, okay? Clothes don't equal gender. It emphasizes expression. True. It's a bit too loud. Alright, a gender fluid person. Fantastic. But wasn't that a great short? Clothes don't equal gender, true. I don't know anything about fashion, okay? You can tell I'm wearing this. I think I wore the same thing last stream, okay? Anyway. You don't need Jujutsu Kaisen. Emma is speechless. Okay, what's she speechless about?
I actually am alone in this world. I am alone in this world. Nobody understands my jokes. I'm completely alone. And that's okay. It's fine. You know why? Because I'll fucking die alone.
Okay.
I've resolved it.
Just make sure when you scroll this.
I actually am alone in this
Oh
world.
boy. Okay. Maybe I should curate these things. Anyway. I'm done. Sick and tired of them. What's on the actual list? We have an Elden Ring trailer. I guess I don't even... It's not probably not really a trailer. I assume it's like a cinematic thing. Elden Ring Shadow of the Erd Tree story trailer. We'll get to that. Firstly, we've got... Oh my god, I just closed it. This that I briefly talked about last time. So, How He Saved My Channel from YouTube Hell by Best Guy Ever. I watched all of this, okay? For the most part, I think he is well-intentioned and, you know, he's just trying to help people avoid the mistakes he made and is giving advice and stuff and explains his journey. That's all good. The only thing that really bothers me is that he... I didn't clip it up or anything, but various points throughout this, he says that he thinks it's still justified in having those those chapter discussions up or whatever. And he even thinks, like, he shouldn't have gotten strikes for them, but he's, like, willing to accept them or whatever. I think it's pretty clear, like, based on what I saw, like, when I looked at it last time, that he's linking to the copyrighted material in the actual video. I think it's very obvious that he deserves those strikes. So that's like the only point of contention, I guess. Other than that, interesting video. That's all I really wanted to say. Now, Miller sent a video, oh boy, by... How do I actually pronounce this channel? Let's see. Shafrillis Productions, which I don't think I've ever watched a full video of this, which I certainly won't be watching one now. Ranking the Star Wars movies by their R2-D2 usage. It's a decent idea. Probably a good idea to do it, like a good idea for a video or whatever, but 30 minutes? I don't think I could do 30 minutes. I hate leaks, but in his favor, thousands of people cover them on YouTube. I know, I don't think... okay, firstly, the leaks, forget it. Pretend it's not leaks or anything. He was basically saying that he thinks that his videos that he had uploaded onto YouTube, which as far as I understand, based on the screenshots I looked at last time, are a blurred image of him going through a chapter where you can't discern any copyrightable material in the actual video itself. However, as far as I understand, at least on the screen, and I would assume in the description, he has a link to his Twitch where he is explicitly saying that you can see the full chapter when you go to the stream. So from a company's perspective that is determining whether the video in question is violating their copyright, then the links in the description linking to the full chapter would undeniably be a violation of copyright, and I think is very worthy of a copyright strike. That's my understanding. So that's how I would defend that, I guess. I love these Shafrillis videos. Well, let's watch like 2 minutes.
Funding for Shafrillis is provided by
Squarespace, the sponsor of today's video. Well, you know what?
Boy. All right, straight with a
They
sponsor.
say,
All right.
if you make a video ranking every Star Wars movie based on the role C-3PO plays in them, you gotta do the same thing for R2-D2. This sage piece of wisdom has been passed down through the generations, and now I must finally fulfill the prophecy for my own channel. So, R2-D2. Low-key, one of my favorite Star Wars characters of all time. He's hilarious. He's adorable. He bails the heroes out of predicaments more times than I can count. This little rolling trash can does it all. Whereas with 3PO, I kind of begrudgingly say, yeah, I guess we better put this guy in every Star Wars movie. R2-D2 is someone I can't get enough of seeing.
True.
He's the best.
He's
I
funny.
love him so much. So now let's rank all 9 of the mainline Star Wars movies based on how well they utilize the most special little droid in the galaxy.
All right, what's the answer? Let's think for a second. In episode 1, oh, it's been so long. I don't even remember him in episode 1. What does he do? Does he even exist? What is R2's story? Where did it even come about? Anakin didn't make him, so like, where does he even come from? I don't know. I don't remember him. Maybe he was like on the ship, the shiny ship or whatever, Palpatine's yacht. I don't know. This is a bad one. Episode 2, obviously, he has a massive part in the whole droid factory thing. That was fantastic, so that's probably the best. Episode 3, he burns those droids alive with oil. That was the sickest thing ever, so that was pretty sick. Episode 4, he like has the message and he like has a feud with C3PO where they go separate ways. That's pretty funny. Episode 5, I don't remember much of R2, so I don't know. Episode 6, he like gives the lightsaber. That's all I remember, so that's like a pretty low one. Episode 7 doesn't do anything. You just see Luke touch him, basically. Episode 8 and episode 9, I feel like R2 is barely in any of these. So obviously the answer is 2 is the best, 3 is second, 4 is third, and then all the rest are like basically the same. That's what I would go with. But how do I, oh boy, okay, let's see. Because I'm not going to watch this whole thing. I have very little interest in this. How am I going to possibly, do you think he has the answers? Do you think someone put it in the comments? All right. Let's see. Number 8. What's number 1? Just show me number 1. Is it really episode 5? The one time I don't remember him being in anything?
Pivotal moment right here. While he was chilling at the swamp, indulging in Yoda's ketamine stash the whole movie, the gang on the Falcon has been going through it. Over and over again, they try and go to lightspeed, but the hyperdrive generator just won't work. They try and...
I don't remember enough about the original trilogy. Is this episode 5? I would assume it is. Because there's no, like, Ben Kenobi? Who knows? He did C3PO too. That's great. Yeah, he's obviously in the wrong. I get why he feels cheated because everyone does it. Yeah, sure, that's fine. What a problematic streaming time. That is very true. It would have been earlier, but I was doing this thing, okay, which we're also going to be doing. But it'll take like 5 minutes. Because I figured this is like a gaming themed thing because I got to watch an Elden Ring trailer. Anyway. These videos are great, Ari. You have to watch them all. Yeah, I guess. I just have too many Destiny streams to watch, Miller. All my spare time where I would be consuming videos is just catching up on Destiny stuff. It's a waste. Are you such a zoomer? I'm literally the definition of a zoomer. This is the best Star Wars movie. What? What is the best Star Wars movie? Number 5? I don't know. What is this? Is this 5? What's Miller's favorite? Episode 3, I hope? No, Miller's like an old soul. He would definitely like the original trilogy. He'd be one of those people. Empire? Yeah, classic Miller. Given the most obvious answer. You know, I do like... Empire's pretty good. But it's no Revenge of the Sith. Anyway, what does R2 even do in Empire? I mean, I'm sure this video would tell me, but I don't have the patience for that. But we'll keep it open for now. Alright, oh god, I get so many notifications when I go live. And all these channels, all these Discords. Okay, anyway. Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree story trailer. So it's only 3 minutes long, thank god. Now, I've played Elden Ring, alright? Believe it or not, I don't think it even... No, wait, I don't know. Maybe it makes it on this list. I don't actually remember. I think it doesn't. I think it's like number 11 or something in my number of hours played. But yeah, I've played like 130 hours or whatever. I've beat it, 3 times? Whatever you need to get all the achievements. And I have all the achievements. I love it. It's fantastic. I played on the computer. I used the key, what do you call it? A PlayStation controller, I guess. I've watched my friend basically play through all of it. I remember when Riker was streaming it, I would watch him play it a lot. I love Elden Ring. It's a fantastic game. But when it comes to the story of Elden Ring, I know very little. I don't know if anyone actually knows anything, but I've watched like one lore video, and that was a bit, like, it was really cool, but also I was even more confused, I think, at the end. As far as I understand, the high-level things are that, like, there's Queen Marika, and there's Radagon, and they're, like, 2 sides of the same person or something, because that's why, like... But also, like, the Elden Beast is an alien that's sent to this planet by the Greater Will, which is basically God, or like the idea of evil in Berserk. And Marika like defied the greater will and sided with the three fingers or something like that. And I don't know, it's basically crazy lore that I just like, that's really interesting. I just don't know anything. Like I've never really tried to look for answers, and I don't think there really are answers, but there's probably some stuff you can, you know, piece together, I'm sure. Which leads us to this story trailer. So I don't know what kind of story is going to be told here, but we'll see. I wonder if it'll be like a cinematic, like the opening to the game. It's like in the lands between. I wonder if it'll be the same narrator or if there'll be no narrator. I don't know. Okay, wait, that sucks. Do you actually have to beat it 3 times for all the achievements? Well, the thing is that Elden Ring has like, what, 6 endings or something? There's like a variety of different endings, but there's 3 main types of endings. So if you want to get all the achievements, you have to get the 3 like major branches of the ending. Which I think is good because the endings are quite different. I mean, the path to get to the endings are very different. So really, if you want to feel like you've completed the game, you probably do have to do all 3 endings. Otherwise, it feels like you've missed out on like a giant chunk of the game. Like there's a whole like storyline called the Rani quest line or whatever. If you don't do that, you've missed out on a large chunk of the actual game. Anyway, George R. R. Martin wrote the story, bro. I heard he wrote like a lore, like he wrote the lore basically, as far as I understand. I don't know if he wrote the story. I don't think there really is a story, but I guess. Most loved product George has contributed to. Probably, yeah, universally. I've seen very few people hate on Elden Ring, but I have seen it. Anyway, let's see if I piece anything together in this whatsoever.
Peggy 16.
Jesus Christ, that scared me. All right. Bandai Namco. FromSoft. Oh my god, it's the load screen music.
The kind spoke of the beginning.
Geez.
The seduction and the betrayal.
Who is this? Oh wait, this will be Melania, right? Oh no, that's Marika holding a rune arc. Oh my god, crazy. I don't know what this is.
And so
looks sick.
too was Shadow born. What followed was a war unseen.
Jesus, they're so big.
One that could never be put to song.
To recognize that? I got no idea.
Grace or honor.
This is Lindell?
The tyranny of Messmer's flame.
Why isn't it glowing? Oh my god.
And so kindly Mikula would abandon everything. His golden flesh, his blinding strength, even his fate. But we are not deterred. We choose to follow. Will you walk with us?
All right. June, pretty cool. Well, I don't know what I just watched. Now I assumed this would have been a prequel, but is this a sequel to Elden Ring? Not a sequel as in like a new game, but like a sequel storyline or whatever. And now that I'm thinking about it, is this actually Mikula and not Queen Marika? I would assume. I don't know why. I just thought it was her. What is this? I don't know. I wish I knew more about Elden Ring. Like, the tree looks weird, which I assume makes this a sequel, but I guess it could be a prequel. Maybe it, like, grew out of here or whatever. And I'm assuming this is the... Unless I'm, like, really not remembering the details, I would assume this is Lindell. Because it's the only really gated city we see like this. And this would be... Like, you know, you see outside of Lindell, like, the remnants of a battle with the giant spears and stuff, right? Which you would assume there was, like, a fight with really big giants or whatever. Is this it? Or is this, like, a completely separate thing? I got no idea. But it's really sick either way. Someone about Mikola. I don't care about Mikola. I don't know. They were, like, in an egg or something, or they died. But this is... Look at that. Look at the tree. Oh, my God. Scary. Shadow of the Erd Tree. I also have no idea what that means, but it is what it is. Good. 16 inclusive. True. Yeah, children can play this game. Fantastic. Anyway, that's Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erd Tree. I'd like to see some actual... Let's go to Reddit. Reddit. Shadow of the... Oops. Erd Tree story trailer. I wonder if they can explain to me what I've failed to understand it at all here. A visual transcript. Mikola, the kind... Oh, I read this. That's the actual thing in the trailer. Why is it sorted by new? Oh my God. I at once understand that what we have seen has some major implications, but have zero idea what those implications are. True. Will you walk with us? Okay, just memes. So it looks like... So it looks and sounds like the Mesmer committed acts of savagery and blasphemy that Rykard, I recognize his name, that's the snake guy that you kill, could only aspire to. And also that this shadow was born at the same time as Marika's gold, so it looks like a part of her order was to take the ugliest part and just sweep them under a rug where no one could see them. The DLC is just going to be all about following Mikola into Marika's rug. I don't know what this person is even saying, Jesus. Is that the best explanation? Well, the tone at the end was oddly hopeful, triumphant, true. Some of you crazy schizo lore analysts get the shit stat, true. That's my takeaway. Anyway, Elden Ring, how exciting. What is it, a month away? What was it, June something? Who cares? I care. Anyway, I've got my games. We can watch another video. No Star Wars. What else is there? Berserk 2016-17 is not that bad, bro. Jesus.
I'm retarded?
Okay. Very funny. I do wonder, is Berserk 2016 actually bad? Like, this, to me, it looks bad. Like, this looks bad, right? Also, this looks like Power from Chainsaw Man. But, like, people would look at Ruby and say Ruby is bad, right? So maybe 2016 Berserk is actually really good. Who knows? But I somehow doubt it. Oh my God, I forgot Ventress is in Bad Batch, but I haven't caught up yet. I only remember her from the trailer. Berserk fans explaining their favorite character. It's Puck, of course. Anyway, what actual videos are there? Oh, I forgot to remove the ones we've seen. Elden Ring, we've seen it. That one, we don't care about piracy at the moment. Except we kind of do, because we just talked about it when it came to Best Guy Ever. We don't care about Kaguya-sama. Closing thoughts, Attack on Titan. Is now the time to get back into Attack on Titan? We'll open that in another tab. And then we have all the old ones that I've just put off for too long. Did we ever watch this? Are you just living day to day? Are you lost and confused? I want to feel alive. It's easy. You can't think about the past. Why did I do that? Okay. It's a motivational meme video, I guess. I don't know.
Attack on...
What is this? I feel like this channel made a good or an interesting Mushoku Tensei video. Am I remembering right? Oh yeah, Mushoku Tensei is not about redemption. That was like mildly like... It was interesting because as far as I understand, they're like an anime only, and they were making an interesting video about like the themes of Mushoku Tensei or something. Then I thought, why don't I watch another video that this channel makes? And I saw Closing Thoughts, Attack on Titan. So let's see.
Titan is finally over, and after a decade of defining the anime landscape, the question now is, will its influence continue in future? Will it have the longevity of IPs such as Death Note and Neon Genesis?
Oh my god, this is literally my video. Crazy. What will Attack on Titan leave behind? Although it's not at all what my video is.
Evangelion, or will it fall into obscurity just like... Well, I don't know what, but that's kind of the point. Is Attack on Titan
Game of Thrones, right? That went into obscurity.
now a classic? It feels strange asking if Attack on Titan is now a classic, because it's felt like a classic ever since it began, but lest we forget, endings can often make or break shows. Game of Thrones proved that, destroying 8 years of storytelling quicker than you can say.
Danny kind of forgot about the Iron Fleet.
On the other hand, people are a lot more forgiving on a show with a slow start. Attack on Titan opened with a bang so big it sent ripples outside the anime community and changed the life of one unsuspecting person forever. That person is me. 2013, I was a teenager just living my life watching YouTube Let's Plays, slowly becoming an internet degenerate. And there was this chatter, or a rumbling you could say. One of the YouTubers I watched at the time mentioned the show he was watching, Attack on Titan. Now, I may have been a degenerate, but I was no loser. Don't ask the people I went to school with. I didn't watch cartoons, I didn't partake in this anime, but these cool gamers on the internet were watching it and they said it was different, so I thought to myself, why not? And I entered the world of Attack on Titan. And Attack on Titan was good. The setting was different to so many shows I'd watched before, and even anime since. And the intrigue wrote itself. Where did the
Is it a review video? Okay, wait.
come from? Why did they only eat humans? How did the humans who survived manage to build the walls? What was in the base?
I guess that makes sense if this is about if it's gonna have a legacy. It'll depend on how good it is. I think it's like, is it obvious? I think it's pretty obvious that Attack on Titan would be considered a classic, right? Like, and when I think of a classic, I think of things like, well, the only example I think of is like, Cowboy Bebop, right? I don't know why. Did Kyle make a video about that? I don't know. What else would there be? Like a bunch of old stuff that anyone would recommend. Like Dragon Ball Z, I say would be a classic, right? Maybe Death Note? Death Note might be a classic. I feel like Attack on Titan is probably in that regard, where it's like very popular. It's consistently regarded as good by most people, like really good. And it like landed the ending for the most part for most people. I don't know. I feel like it'd be a classic. Anyway, yeah. I think I get the point of this video. They're gonna actually I don't really, but also this seems like a review video. I'm not too interested. Yikes, this is boring. But it's a good channel, Miller, okay? We have to support our good channels. Which reminds me, how's our secondary NT going? Everyone go subscribe to secondary NT, okay? Poor Kyle, he's freaking out because I'm catching up to him. Look at this, ready? I'll show you a real number here. 367. Okay, versus 373. Anyway, we got any comments yet, I wonder? Of course, no comment. I'm making a stand in this review. I wonder if that's a meme, a funny meme. Oh, anyway, okay. Star Wars. Miller wants Star Wars too bad. All right, we'll get Star Wars after I do my list here of games. So this is going to take me, I think, 2 to 3 minutes. We're going to go through my top 10 most played games by the number of hours that I played them. Okay, unless there's like something really obvious that I'm completely forgetting. But at number 10, we have Star Wars Battlefront 2, 2017, which apparently I have 147 hours. Okay. I don't know if I've ever spoken about gaming, but this is a fantastic game. I love this so much. It's got the big battles with like 40 people all together, or probably even more. I don't know how many it is, like 20 on each side, or is it 40 on each side? It feels basically like the map is really full and everything, and you can like role play as like a droid or like a trooper, and it's like so cool. And then sometimes you can be the heroes, and sometimes you can play the game mode, heroes versus villains, and you like kill each other with lightsabers and stuff. It's so cool. And it looks really good. It's like really, 4K, and like the textures are like really cool and everything, and we love it. Battlefront 2 is great. It has microtransactions. If it does, I've never run into them. I don't even know where would they come into play. Maybe, no, I was going to say maybe now, but I played it like a few, when I was in America, I played it quite a bit. I've never seen a microtransaction. Maybe for skins or something, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, it's number 10, Battlefront 2, 2017. Number 9, we have Rocket League. Okay, you might notice that a lot of these are probably multiplayer games because I do play with friends a lot. But 184 hours, I don't know what to say. Rocket League is Rocket League. You just get a ball, you hit it in the other end. I guess I should like clarify for anyone who like doesn't know games, but you're like a little car. There's like a giant ball, and you like boost into the ball, and you get it in the hoop, and it's like soccer but with cars, and it's like really cool. But I prefer the Rumble mode, which is like you get a bunch of superpowers every like 10 seconds or something, and you like punch the ball with a giant fist, and so on and so forth, and we love it. Number 8, we have VR chat. I have around 200 hours in this. I don't know exactly because this is split across the Oculus program, like the Oculus, like whatever, the login thing, and Steam as well. I think it's roughly 200, probably a bit more. And when I say 200 hours in VR chat, I mean literally in VR. Like, I've never played this game on desktop. I've purely only played it in VR. There's like a nice screenshot of me and my friends, okay, in some disco place. It's fun, okay? I like this game. It's not really a game, I guess. It's more like Discord, but with like avatars or something. I don't know. So that's that. Do you think your top game will be higher or lower than mine? In terms of number of hours, I don't know. Let me give a spoiler warning. The last game, I don't know how many hours I have. I estimated it in the like I have a range, but I don't know exactly how many hours because of just how much I played it. But probably not, because I'm not really a gamer. So I feel like you've probably got more hours than me. But maybe I'm a very specific gamer where I like play specific games for a very long time. I don't know. Anyway, that's 200 hours in VR chat. And this is my cute little avatar, okay? It's probably from some anime, but whatever it is, it's cute. This is one of my friends with a disco avatar. Maybe that's also a reference to something. And that's Naruto, right? I would assume. I don't know. Anyway. Next up, we have GTA 5. I've got 300 to 500 hours. Technically, I've played this across the PS3, and I've played it on PC, but I didn't get it on Steam, so I don't have, I have it on Steam now, but back when I played it like for hundreds of hours, I didn't track it. But if I were to estimate, it'd roughly be somewhere between 300 to 500 hours. I think that's pretty accurate. But I played a lot of it, and I think what's interesting to probably most people who've played this game is that I've never played the story. So I played basically until you have to basically, I remember there's some initial mission where you're like shooting with a gun or something against some police or something. And then you like end up at someone's house. And then from there, I like save the game when you're at the house. And now all I do is like free roam around. And like the first thing I do is as soon as I open the game, I get a phone call from some NPC, and I just hang up, and then the story just doesn't progress because I never answer the phone call. So for hundreds and hundreds of hours, I've basically just driven around the city and like, I don't know, just explored it and like shot people basically. And, listen to the radio. It's just a fun game to do nothing. I got a mod in it. I got there's a grappling hook mod, which was really sick. So I could like grapple around everywhere. And there was a zoom mod. And when I say zoom, I mean like, the Flash, like the really fast speedster or whatever, where you can like run around really fast and like roleplay as a speedster. So you can like kill people by freezing time and like torturing them by like shooting them in the air. Like, it's really fun. But yeah, hundreds of hours of just free roaming, basically. I've never played the story and I have no interest in playing the story. Anyway. Oh, true. Wish Minecraft was on Steam. True, then we could track it and like have achievements and stuff. That'd be great. That's pretty much the GTA experience. I'm glad, because I know there's a lot of people though who will like play the story and like really care about that, but I'm not much of a story guy. Anyway, the GTA 300 to 500 hours. Number 6, we've got PUBG at 541 hours. This is great. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's like a very slow-paced game where you're on like either you can do it solo, but the overwhelming majority of my time has been in like squads of 4 probably, where it's like you and 3 friends or 3 random people just walk around and survive against like other squads, and there can only be like 1 squad or 1 person standing at the end. So yeah, I don't know. I feel despite how many hours I have, 541, I've probably only won a handful of times, maybe like 10 times in total. So I'm not very good at it, but I find it very fun. The maps are fun. The shooting is fun, even though I'm not very good at it. It's just a fun, relaxing game where the majority of the time you're just like talking with your friends as you like wander around and like roughly choose where you're going to go next. It's just a fun game, all right? Well, you've beat me. Oh boy, okay. Well, we've got far to go from here, okay? My highest is Binding of Isaac Rebirth with 512 hours. Binding of Isaac Rebirth. I've heard... Wait, Binding of Isaac Rebirth. Is this the one with the giant people or something? Oh no, this was not what I was thinking. I don't think I've ever seen this game in my life. What type of game is this? What do you do? The Binding of Isaac. It looks like... You're not going to like this comparison because I'm not much of a gamer. I don't know anything. But it looks like that... you know the Looney Tunes game? Whatever it is? The one that reviewers couldn't beat? You know what I mean? The one that got like a shoe? Not a shoe, Jesus Christ. A show? Oh my god, what's it called? You all know it. It's like that game, the famous one. That apparently is really hard, but it's not really hard at all. It's not Mughat. That's like a DGG. Or oh my god, what is it? Cuphead. Cuphead, that's it. It's called Cuphead, true. Anyway, it reminds me of that. Anyway, it's a roguelike with 2D Zelda gameplay. Interesting. It looks cool. 500 hours? That's crazy in that game. Is it a story-based game? What is a roguelike? I've heard the term. Game characterized by levels that procedurally generated levels. Okay, that makes sense. Interesting. This is the best game. This game rocks. Oh, okay. It's a roguelike. Yeah, it's called Cuphead. True, I'm a genius. Okay, anyway, PUBG, 541 hours. Number 5, we have Terraria, 562 hours. So, you know, what people say. This is like Minecraft, but 2D. But in fact, it's nothing like Minecraft. It has like a storyline. Well, not really a story. I guess kind of a storyline, but it has like progression and things like bosses you need to beat. And there is an end game where you like beat like a final boss, but then you can like keep going up to the end game. But you just like, it's like in 2 dimensions. It's a side scroller. You go left and right, up and down, and you can mine and you can collect resources and you can build weapons. And like the fun aspect is kind of coming up with builds. Like, are you going to be a mage or are you going to be a summoner? Like, there's a bunch of stuff like that, which is really cool. You can customize how your character looks. You can build bases. It's just fun overall. 562 hours. And I'm currently playing through it for I played through this for whatever, like 500 hours maybe, with friends, like with 1 or 2 friends basically, over like maybe 3 or 4 worlds, which we've beaten. And now I'm playing through for the first time ever, like by myself. And there's a lot I don't know because I often did rely on the knowledge of my friends. So it's been fun to go through it, I guess, the first time. I have 603 of 637 achievements. That's insane. I should also say I am not much of an achievement hunter. I think I only have complete achievements in 2 games. Astroneer, which is like it's kind of like, what's the game? No Man's Sky, I think. It's kind of like that, I think. Like an exploration planet game where you like mine resources or whatever. I have all those achievements and Elden Ring. Those are the only 2, I think. The game is about a mother killing her kid because she's super religious. That's terrible. Oh my gosh. But interesting. Maybe I'll consider it, okay? 500 hours? Crazy. Anyway, Terraria, 562. Then we have Satisfactory for 681 hours. And this is a beautiful screenshot of one of our little factories here. I don't remember which one this is. Maybe this is our plastic factory. No, it can't, because I think this might be, I don't know, some complicated compound that we have to make. Basically, Satisfactory is a factory game. It's in 3D, so you like run around or whatever, and you can fly sometimes if you upgrade your stuff enough. And you have to build, basically, like here for each phase, it's like a space elevator. You're working for a company, and whenever you make certain resources, you need to like shoot it up the space elevator and send it to the company. And every phase of the space elevator has like these 4 items, like 3 to 4 that you need to make. And it can be very complex. You have to build entire like factories and layouts and schematics and blah, blah, blah to send like all of this to, or to make enough of it so that you can, in a realistic time frame, send the stuff to the space elevator. But this is very fun. I love this game. In terms of number of hours, it's like 4th, but in terms of like enjoyment, it's probably like in the top 3, easily. So yeah. And again, this is one where I've played both multiplayer and single player, but different to like all the other multiplayer games that I've played by myself. This one I have maybe the majority of my, not the majority, but like maybe a good like 200 hours, 250 hours are probably like solo. The rest are like with friends. Anyway. Number 3, we have Ace of Spades. So 799 hours. I never got to the 800 hours, which is a shame. But this was a game where it's a first-person shooter. You're in a map of voxels like this. Like, it's basically a Minecraft map. And you can shoot blocks, and the blocks can get destroyed, and you can mine, and you can build things. And the matches are, like 15 minutes here, I think, here. This is a screenshot from one of my gameplay matches that I have, like, a few, like, maybe 20 hours of, like, random gameplay that I accidentally recorded back in the day. So this is from that. But yeah, this game, basically, it's just, it's so fun. There's only, like, maybe 10 maps or something, but I loved it a lot. And you can't play it anymore. Jagex took down the servers, and it's like still on Steam, I think, with a page, but you can't download it anymore. And yeah, I never got to 800 hours. I got 799. But this was fun. I made a lot of internet friends back then, like people that I wouldn't talk to them, but I'd like message them or whatever, like on Steam. I made a lot of friends through this. I basically knew the whole like Australian Ace of Spades community at one point. So if you ever played and you see it, remember a guy named Ari, that was probably me. Okay. Anyway. Number 2, we've got Flyth. So this is a MMORPG, a very bad one, a very old one, maybe 2003 or 4, I think it came out. It was basically like the same year World of Warcraft came out, and I think it's like really similar, but I've never played World of Warcraft. This is probably the first game I ever played. Like, not game as in like it's probably the first serious game I ever played, where I would play with friends, and I would like do it in my spare time. Like if you discount things I played very occasionally on like my Xbox, like the Finding Nemo game or like Midtown Madness 3 or something, this was like an actual sit down game where I dedicated a lot of time to it. And I never got the max level, okay? There's like 120 levels back in the day, and then when you got to 120, you had to go back to 60, and then you had to get back up to 120. I only got to like level 72 or something. But I love this game. It's a very grindy game. It's a complete pay to win game, and I never paid anything to win, except for this one time where my relative in America got me a gift card, and then I used that gift card to buy something, a pet, and then I got scammed because I didn't count the zeros in the transaction, and it was meant to cost, I was meant to sell the pet that I bought for 250 million, but I accidentally sold it for 25 million, and I got like a massive, I got destroyed in my negotiation there. It was terrible. And I even like tried to submit like an appeal through the website, but they're like, nope, it's your mistake. You should have checked the zeros. And little did they know that I was an 11-year-old boy who just got scammed. But I've been playing this for like, what? I started playing in 2008. So I don't know. How many years is that? Like over 15 years? I don't know. A very long time. 2,000 hours. Many characters. Many servers. Like I've played the official server. This has like a long history. There was like initially just one like North American, I think, and then it got split to North America and Europe. And there's a million private servers, which are like servers with boosted XP and like money farming rates and stuff. And I played maybe 50 of those in total, like a lot of them. I basically played this a very long time. Why did they delete Ace of Spades? I think it just wasn't. What was it? It's just I assume it was too expensive to like keep the servers up when it's making no money. The game was dead. Like no new players were like downloading it. I assume the community would blame it on Jagex not giving enough support to it and like not giving it updates and stuff. But I don't know. It just died a slow death, and eventually no one could play it. And they didn't give the community an option to kind of host their own servers or anything, so it just died. Like no one could actually still play it. If they had that ability, I'm certain that to this day people would probably still be playing it. There was a very dedicated, like small group of people who would play it. But it's a shame it's gone. And one day Flyfe will be gone as well. These days Flyfe is a browser-based game. Like they actually made it so you can go to Flyfe Universe or whatever and play it through a browser, which is like done wonders for like bringing the game back to life. But to me, it's not the same. The appeal of it was more of a social game where it's like you're playing with friends and you can go to an arena and you can do like PvP in the arena and stuff. And yeah, that was Flyfe, 2,000 hours. And also this is, I know for a fact that I have at least 1,800 hours because one time I went to the, like back in the day, you could check your hours for each character, like how many you'd played, and I added them up and I got, I think it was like 1,800 hours. But other than that, I've played, I don't know, so many private servers and stuff. It's probably way more than 2,000, but this is a conservative estimate. And then of course, number one, we've got Minecraft. I have no idea how many thousands of hours I've played in this. I know it would at least be, it's more than 5, so it's at least 2,000. I would say if I were to guess, it'd be like, I don't know, like 8,000 or 9,000, a ridiculous amount. And obviously not that much compared to like actual gamers who play like tens of thousands of hours in like League of Legends or something. But I don't know. I've got like, I don't even know how many worlds I've played on, how many friends groups I've played with, how many public servers I've played on. This here, backdrop here, is the first ever survival city that I ever built with my friends back in 2011, and I still have the world, and I like go explore it every now and then because it's really fun, just to see like the little like signs we left and memories and stuff. But Minecraft is Minecraft, you know, it is what it is. You got blocks, you mine blocks, you just build whatever you want. It's creativity made real, which is what I ever want from a game, so I love it. There you go, that's my top 10 most played games. I should have tallied it up. I don't know how many it is, but like if you exclude Minecraft, there's probably what, 5,000 hours or something, 4,000 hours. Anyway, crazy. And that's it. That's all I had planned for the stream. So, what else? I guess we have the crossword that we usually do. Let's see. Like the anagram, moonstarer for astronomer. Like the anagram, I don't know what what is an anagram? Is an anagram is like, oh my god, now I'm like messing myself up. What do you call it when the letters are mixed around? Like Doctor Who and Torchwood? That's obviously an anagram, right? Why was I thinking that an anagram is like when you've got the letters and each letter like means something, like M would stand for something and O would stand for something? Anyway. Moon starer for astronomer. Like the anagram moon stare, I have no idea. Tournament rankings. Scores? No. Ranks? There's no way it's ranks, right? With 5 down, instrument that goes rat-tat-tat. Drums? 5 down. C7 across. I have no idea. Happen next. No idea. Overflows. Fills? Beak plus. Popular pasta with vodka sauce. Poke fun at. Oh boy, this is the worst I think I've ever done. One eye, the other eye feels. Paul Klee. Jesus Christ. Like the anagram moon starer for astronomer. I don't know. Happen next. Tournament rankings. Well, we're revealing the answers, okay? Like the anagram moon starer for astronomer. Apt. APT. Well, I never would have guessed that in my life. Tournament rankings. Seeds. Isn't a seed for a tournament the structure of the tournament? I don't know. With 5 down, instrument that goes rat-a-tat-tat. Snare. Okay, isn't that like part of a drum? I don't know. Happens next. Wait, what? Ensue. Happen next, ensue. That makes sense. And overflows with... Oh my god. Teams. Well, I never would have got that. What else is there? A big plus is an asset. A popular pasta with vodka sauce is penne. Poke fun at is tease. C7 across is drum. Oh, snare drum. That makes sense. One eye sees, the other feels. Paul Klee. Crazy. Oh my god. Only one I got was 6 down. Which one was that? Oh, sees. Very funny. All right. Well, I didn't get any. I don't think. Wait, did I get one? No, I don't think I got a single one. Crazy. I got drums, but it was in the wrong spot and it had S at the end. Crazy, crazy, crazy. All right. Now I'm truly out of ideas. I got nothing. I could watch a video. Let's think. What's the most interesting video I've got? I could do the piracy is morally justified, but it doesn't sound very interesting. The many video formats of Doctor Who, it's too long. Why is there so much Chainsaw Man stuff? I feel like I've seen that already. What happened to Chainsaw Man's art style? It's kind of interesting. How Society Failed Gen Z. I don't know if we already watched that or if that was like another version of the thing we saw already. The issue with the... Why don't we go all the way back? The problem with Dave Filoni. That could be interesting.
Dave Filoni.
What is the problem with Dave Filoni? Oh, we got a video recommendation. Jesus, why would I... The history of Tetris World Records? Miller, why would I care about this? I guess it is a gaming themed stream, but... I'm not watching a 2-hour documentary about the history of Tetris World Records. Summoning Salt, I've heard this channel name before. What have they made? Oh, just a bunch of history. I feel like I've seen someone like react to one of these or something. I don't know. The history of Wii Sports World Records. Crazy. It's the video of the year easily. When did that Ruby video come out? Because that's obviously the Ruby. That's the video of the year. Ruby impersonation. The best video that's ever been made. Oh, you're lucky. 2023. Doesn't qualify. Nope. Definitely not watching this. The problem with Dave Filoni it is.
For the 3 or 4 of you who don't know, is the man responsible for the critically acclaimed Star Wars The Clone Wars, as well as Star Wars Rebels and, of course, The Mandalorian, along with Jon Favreau. He and Favreau have also...
And let's not forget Season 1 of Avatar The Last Airbender. He was a director.
Been working on the Book of Boba Fett, which at the time that I'm writing this is still producing episodes of its first season. Now, I started my second channel to focus more on the lore aspect of the Star Wars universe, everything from canon to legends and anything in between, listing off nothing but the established, objective facts as they are and not really giving my opinions on them, which is why a video like this seemed much more appropriate for my main channel, where I talk more about what I like and dislike about various pieces of media, Star Wars or otherwise. However, the elements that I want to talk about in this video seem more important to the lore, or moreover, the fracturing of it, because I like the Clone Wars series just fine, despite, as I'm about to discuss at length, all of the lore inconsistencies that it brought to the old EU and what its successor series, The Bad Batch, has already begun to do to the new Disney canon. You see, I grew up loving the Clone Wars and still do. Of the animated series, of which there are now several, it still remains my favorite. And honestly, I like the show even more than I like any of the movies, which is high praise because The Empire Strikes Back is up there as one of my favorite films of all time. This video isn't going to be me...
That's a good question. Is the Clone Wars better than every Star Wars movie? That's a good question. So much more has gone wrong since this video was made. I wonder. Is that true? I should watch Rollin' Rocks in 0.5 presses for no reason. 0.5 amps, maybe? Rolling Rocks. 0.5 presses. Oh, is that like a speedrun thing? Interesting. But actually not interesting at all. I'm absolutely not watching this. Is this a speedrun of a Mario game? The only speedruns I've seen are like, I've seen Critical. Oh, maybe it's through Critical where I've seen that Summoning Salt channel. I saw him do a speedrun. It was like a Hobbit, something Hobbit related. Wait, Critical Hobbit? Speedrun? I don't know. It is what it is. Oh yeah, this channel, Sheev Talks, never heard of them. Interesting that he has the perspective of Clone Wars ruining the EU continuity as it came out. I mean, as my understanding is that it did, but it also like introduced some of it into the like actual G level canon at the time is what they would call it, like George Lucas level canon. Which I think is, like, fine. The Mario shit is unhinged, Ari. It's fascinating. I'm sure it is. I'm not much of a Nintendo guy, okay? The guy starts talking about parallel universes in Mario 64. It's pretty crazy. True. That is crazy. I feel like these days... I mean, if you... I don't know any... All right, take it with a grain of salt, a grain of summoning salt or whatever, but I don't know anything about speedrunning, but... Wouldn't the... Besides, like, glitches, I don't know if glitches count. I guess I personally... No, glitches are not the issue. Besides, like... No, even including glitches. Okay, no, now I haven't even said anything. You guys are like, what's he saying right now? Right now, I'm wrestling in my mind as to whether a human intentionally trying to find a glitch in the code of a game would be more efficient for speedrunning and be like the current world leader for speedrunning, or would an AI approach be more efficient in the same way that like playing chess is like, it's obviously AI is like the superior approach. I wonder, because my initial impression was like, surely these days for all games, the speedrunner would, like the #1 world record speedrunner would be like some machine learning approach, which can like some reinforcement learning approach or something, right? Surely. But I don't know, maybe humans are better at finding glitches? I don't know.
Bashing on the storytelling within that show, because I think a lot of it is great, and it introduced a lot of really cool things to the Star Wars mythos.
Oh yeah, by the way, is the Clone Wars better than the movies? Probably not, right? I think Revenge of the Sith is like... My enjoyment from Revenge of the Sith is probably greater than my enjoyment for the Clone Wars as a whole. All the other ones, I could probably see an argument for the Clone Wars providing me with a greater level of enjoyment or like more hours of it or something. I don't know. It's always been used. That makes sense. Well, do you know what a TAS speedrun is? No, I don't know anything about speedrunning. I know there's like any percentage or something. Like that's a terminology I've heard, which I feel like just means you can do anything. In a way, with tool-assisted speedruns. Sure, okay, I guess that's a good hybrid. Makes sense.
The problem is how exactly those things were able to happen that I want to talk about today. Because while Dave Filoni was out resurrecting Darth Maul and giving Anakin Skywalker his own Padawan, he was also directly contradicting a great deal of the extended universe lore that had already been established for years. And as a huge fan of Legends, that just doesn't sit right with me. But before I really get too deep into that, I want to first explain something called the hierarchy of canon, which for those unaware is...
Oh my god, he's gonna go into it, the G-level canon and
system that
stuff.
was established by Lucasfilm way back when the expanded universe was just getting off the ground. The New York Times best-selling Thrawn trilogy had just been released, written by Timothy Zahn, and it was because of this that Star Wars became popular again. After the hype for the original trilogy died down, the franchise was more or less dead in the water, and it wasn't until a little book known as Heir to the Empire came along that Star Wars was saved from fading into obscurity. Without it, and the subsequent explosion of books, video games, and comics that came from it, we likely never would have gotten the prequel trilogy. And say what you will about those movies, but the quality of them is not really what I'm here to discuss today. And you can't deny that without the prequels, Star Wars just wouldn't be popular today. But along with all these books, comics, and video games, there had to also be established a set of rules in order to keep the continuity in order. And I should mention now that these were sanctioned by George Lucas himself when they were created, because contrary to popular belief, he actually did care about the EU, and he even read the comics. The hierarchy of canon went as follows. The first tier was G canon, the G standing for George. This was whatever was created by Lucas himself, and so was obviously the end-all be-all when it came to continuity. He created the franchise, and obviously he can do or say whatever he wants. He could have contradicted anything he wanted to from the expanded universe, and it would have been his right, whether that would have pissed off a lot of fans or not, and I guarantee it would have. In fact, and I plan to make a video about this someday, but as an example, the original backstory established by the EU for Boba Fett was much different than what Lucas established in Attack of the Clones. And so the book and comic writers at the time had to essentially retcon it so that it still fit within the continuity and there weren't any...
I'm curious what this video is going to be about. Like, is it going to be more an emotional argument of like, oh, it's a shame because Dave Filoni, if you really tried, he probably could have like resolved everything together and made it so that like the canon, G-level canon could resonate with the rest of the universe or whatever? Or is it going to be more of a, I guess that's the emotional argument. What's the other one? I don't even know. I just like cornered myself there. That's like, it feels like the only way this video can go. I guess my take would be that as a, I like what, for instance, I know this is unrelated, but I like what Disney did, which is like we're not considering any of the expanded universe stuff canon, and we're just starting with our own slate of like storytelling. So they're completely unrestrained. They can do whatever they want. I like that. So I guess I like that the Clone Wars didn't have to adhere to like existing canon. But like sucks for the people who read it, I guess. But also it doesn't, because like the stories you read is still like really good, regardless of if like George Lucas acknowledges them or not. So I have no idea. They use TAS to show what the theoretical perfect run is that humans strive for. That's interesting. What is TAS? I wonder. TAS speedrunning. Oh, it's literally tool-assisted speedruns. Is that why you typed it before? Okay. Jesus. That's 3 to present. Creating a tool-assisted speedrun is the process of finding the optimal set of inputs to fulfill a criterion, usually completing a game as fast as possible. No limits are imposed on the tools used for search, but the result can be a set of time key presses that, when played back-to-back on the actual console, achieves target criterion. The basic method used to construct such a set of input is to record one's input while playing the game on an emulator, all the while saving and loading the emulator state repeatedly to test out several possibilities, and only keep the best result. Interesting. Re-recording emulators. Oh my god, AI. Wow, that's crazy. Relation to unassisted runs, timing conventions. Interesting. Some players have fraudulently recorded speedruns. Oh my god, Dream from Minecraft, remember that? Either by creating montages of other speedrun or altering what is this grammar here? Either by creating montages of other speedrun or altering the playing time, posting them as TAS or RTA. Because tool-assisted speedruns can account for all aspects of the game code, including its inner workings, and pressing buttons precisely and accurately, they can be used to help verify whether an assisted speedrun record is legitimate. Notable speedruns. Oh my god, Minecraft. Minecraft tasks are often done by slowing down the game by a large amount so that a human can input frame-perfect controls consistently. The current world record for this is by Tasser Dylan, who beat the game on a set seed in 19.9 seconds. Jesus Christ, okay. Half of Clone Wars is bad and boring, to be honest. Probably those first, like, 2 seasons, yeah. I think the rest of the seasons are pretty consistently good. He has a point, even now Filoni breaks canon too often. Does he? I feel like it's pretty... It'd be pretty crazy if they violated canon, right? What do they violate? I don't even know. I have no idea. He has a point, even though I read that already. Like when Tales of the Jedi overrode the Ahsoka novel. Is the Ahsoka novel canon? I guess anything Disney makes is canon, right? Is that like the rule? What is canon in Star Wars? And who even says this, I wonder? Like, where do they declare this? Everything that has been made post-Disney buyout, as well as the movies in Clone Wars. Sure, that's what I assume. This was my assumption. But, like, what is this based on, I wonder? Like, where do they get this? On October 2015, it was announced that the Walt Disney Company acquired Lucasfilm, completing the acquisition in 2012. It looks like some spokesperson came out and spoke about it. Anyway. And Bad Batch overrode the Kanan comic. That's interesting. I wonder how that got through. I guess, okay, I was going to say Tales of the Jedi is a more recent thing. Because as far as I understood, there was back in Lucasfilm, at least in like, what, I don't even know, maybe 2015 to 2019, I know at the least, but maybe more recently as well, there was like a story group who was responsible for maintaining the canon, right? Like they would be the ones responsible, not Dave Filoni, right? Like there wasn't the guy, like it was some guy called Pablo or something? I don't know. There's like basically, as far as I understand, a small group of people who would make sure that everything that is in line, that in new stories is in line with the certain canon. But then fans got angry because it was like stifling the creativity of like the stories. And I feel like these days, as far as I understand, I don't think like things like Andor, I don't think have to go through the story group filtering, but maybe they do. And I don't know. I started watching a 3-hour video about Doctor Who last night, and the guy started talking about how Dave Filoni doesn't care about canon. It's crazy. Guess everything is connected. That is crazy. But also, I feel like Dave Filoni probably does care about canon. Unless there's like statements to the contrary. I feel like he, as far as I understand, Dave Filoni cares about the fans and would probably want to cherish, the fan experience. And I feel like he wouldn't want to sour the experience of any fans by overriding their canon. I don't know, maybe, I don't know. Has he said anything about it? Wow, that's great. I wonder if there are people pissed off when Doctor Who contradicts Big Finish. I doubt it. But contradicting the original series? Oh, absolutely, I'm sure. Yeah. I'm sure there's at least one guy, maybe, yeah. If you were ever to play a game on stream, a proper one, what would it be if you had to? Or Minecraft, right? That'd be the only one. I don't think I'd play anything else. Like Hollow Knight or something similar, yes. I would not play any story-based game on stream. It will never happen. Don't get your hopes up at all because it's never happening. Middle of the Killer, yeah, I think it's baffling. There was no one in the story group who said no to these things. Oh, Pablo Hidalgo, that's right. Oh my god. I only know these names because of Rebel Force Radio. Did I talk about this? Was this here or was this like somewhere else? No, I think I was talking to Kyle about it. Rebel Force Radio was such a funny thing because they're like, it's like 2 older people who are like original trilogy fans. I think they're like in their 40s or 50s now at some point. But they like the prequels, like they're actual prequel fans as well. So it was interesting to see them not get swept under the sequel trilogy hate. Like they liked a significant portion of the sequel trilogy. It was really interesting to see it. They're like in a unique spot where it's like they're old people who are like primed to hate the prequels, but they don't, and are primed to hate the sequels, but they don't, is just really interesting. Why did I bring that up? I had a reason for this. Oh, because they would always talk about the story group and Pablo Hidalgo and all that, and yeah. Remember his bits in Rebels Rewind. Oh, there was a Rebels thing like that. I think I only saw a few of those, but damn, that sounds so familiar. I feel like maybe in the second last season, I would see stuff like that, like on Reddit or something. Damn, those would be fun to rewatch. Hollow Knight isn't really a story. It's not a story, it's just a platformer. We're never playing a platformer here, okay? The only platform we'll ever play is Terraria, okay? If that's considered a platformer. Yeah, but the last thing I want is for this to become a gaming stream. That's absolutely not something I want. You know, we all know why these streams exist, okay? So I can make ordinary Ari videos. That's purely it. Otherwise, I wouldn't bother, you know? If I had the energy, I'd just record these videos myself. But nope, we're getting on here. And I don't know if anyone has any opinions about this, but I'm thinking of... I also talked to Kyle about this today when we recorded Chainsaw Man. But I think future series that I'm doing, like where I'm going through a particular series, like episode or season by season or something, I think I'll stick to a structure like this for the thumbnail, where I'll have like a very standardized thing where it's like episode number, series, and episode name or something on the right, and then like a picture from the episode on the left. Because I think it's a bit confusing for someone who... I guess there's the playlist. I think it's just easier to follow if you got things like this. And when a new episode comes out, it's easier to see it on the homepage of your YouTube homepage, I guess, and be like, oh my god, it's that series I was watching last time. Let me watch it again, because it's like the same consistent style. Anyway. Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight is a Metroidvania with Souls-like elements. It's more about exploring and challenging the bosses and platforming. It's the perfect stream game. You could always just do one and see how you feel. Don't waste your time on this, guys, because this isn't something where I'm like, oh, you know, maybe one day, there's like a 2% chance. There is a 0% chance that I will ever play any game that isn't something that I have personally played in the past for a very long time. Like maybe Minecraft. Like I played Astroneer that one time. It will never happen. I'm putting it now. You can use this clip in the future if I ever do play it. It'll be the ultimate like bit of hypocrisy or whatever, or changing my mind. But yeah, I will never play a game that's recommended to me. However, if you do actually want me to play it, you could recommend it to me, and I will play it off stream. Then I'll talk about it in the digest. That is a thing that will happen. But don't expect me to play it on stream though. But also I need to work on that, because like right now you can't actually recommend me games. You can only recommend me like anime, movies, TV shows. So yeah, I should work on that. But this website's been doing good. Not bad. Remember, if you have any suggestions, put them in here. I got a lot to watch by the end of this month. Because suddenly, Kyle decided to catch up on Black Lagoon, so I had to watch that, which wasted a few of my days here. Rebels Rewind was so good back when you could see the creatives and see the soul. True. But then again, yeah. The ultimate, like, expression of that was like the behind the scenes documentary for the prequels, right? Like that was the sickest thing, especially episode 1, where it's like you literally see like every detail of like behind the scenes process, like all the decisions, even George like being painted in a bad light and stuff. It's just so cool to get like a documentary like that. And it kind of went away when Disney took over. So one of the biggest tragedies of their usurping of the franchise. I honestly have no interest in seeing Ari play games. That's probably good. And I love Hollow Knight. List all the games you've ever played. Well, did you miss the I don't know if you were here, Cyclip, but I went over the 10 games that I've played the most hours in. Beyond those games, there's probably like, I don't know, like 30 other games. Not many. I'm not that much of a gamer. Anyway, back to the problem with Dave Filoni, I guess.
Blatant holes in the overall flow of the universe. Annoying, yes, but again, it was within his rights, and no one can really deny that. The next tier that was directly below that was T-canon, which stands for television canon, i.e. exactly what the Clone Wars falls into. It pretty much trumps anything else except for...
Why is the television canon in a separate tier when George Lucas is the one that's approving all of the television? Like, he was the head of the Clone Wars, right? He was the showrunner. Well, not the... Was he a showrunner? What was he considered? I know that he approved all the big decisions. George. Would they like talk about it here, I wonder? I guess not. says created by, but like it doesn't really say much. Executive producer. I don't know. My understanding is that he had to approve basically every episode and also the very bit, like the high level decisions as well for like where the story arcs are going and everything. That's my understanding of it. So I feel like it's strange to have a separate G level canon. I don't know.
The original 6 films themselves, but I'm going to circle back to that because I have a lot more to say about it.
I mean, a T level canon. Okay.
That was C canon, or continuity canon. This encompassed basically all of the books, comics, and games that weren't contradictory to the higher tiers. And that pretty much pertained to everything because despite what people will tell you, the EU was actually pretty good about not contradicting itself for the most part. And even when it did, EU authors were able to retcon things to fit where they didn't previously make sense. In fact, one example that I like to use is one where they actually managed to fill in an inconsistency created by the movies. In Attack of the Clones, Palpatine specifically says that the Republic has stood for 1,000 years, but all the way back in A New Hope, Obi-Wan said that the Jedi Knights were the guardians of the Republic for 1,000 generations.
I will not let this republic that has stood for 1,000 years be split in two.
For over 1,000 generations, the Jedi Knights were the guardians of peace and justice in the old Republic.
And you might say that that's a small distinction, but not really. A generation is like 20-ish years, which
yes, I get the point. It's a big difference.
The EU timeline that they've established. 1,000 generations is more like 20,000 years, give or take a few millennia. That's obviously way more than 1,000 years, and is therefore an inconsistency. Legends authors were able to retcon this with the Old Republic, an era popularized by the Knights of the Old Republic and Star Wars: The Old Republic video games, respectively. In the Darth Bane book trilogy written by Drew Karpyshyn, it's explained that there is a difference between the Old Republic and the Galactic Republic, being that the government policies were radically changed after the Battle of Ruusan, the conflict which is what finally caused the Jedi to believe that the Sith had been brought to extinction. And yes, in any post-Revenge of the Sith content that refers to the prequel-era Republic, it's all just considered the Old Republic, mainly because the Galactic Republic, as it was known for that 1,000 years, was now a bygone era. And even after the fall of the Empire, when the New Republic was established, it was the New Republic. So yes, technically the Republic existed for something like 25,000 years, but the Republic as it was known by the time of the prequels had only existed for a mere 1,000. And again, this is just one of many examples where C canon came in clutch. But that then brings us to S canon, or secondary.
It doesn't really come in clutch, right? Like it's just like anyone could have that theory in their mind, right? Like, how does it affect the movie? I don't understand. It's okay. It would be like saying, oh, I don't even have an example. I was going to say it's kind of like saying, assuming Ahsoka was like part of the canon, and then you get like those final few episodes of the Clone Wars that explain what happened to Ahsoka, and it's kind of like you could have filled it in yourself, but now you just have like this other non part of the original continuity that's like explaining it. So I don't know. I'm probably not even making sense. I guess it would be similar to the Boba Fett thing, right? What am I even saying at this point? I guess I'm coming to the conclusion here that there's literally like one canon, and that's like the canon for in regard to Star Wars is whatever the latest movie is like is not contradicting. That's basically the canon, right? Everything else is like fiction, even though this is all fiction, you know? I don't know. Interesting. I guess my whole take on canon and stuff is that every individual has their own canon and they choose what is canon and not. Like for me, GT is canon and Super is like a fan thing that doesn't really exist. Everyone should have things like that. That's my take on it.
D canon came in clutch. But that then brings us to S canon, or secondary canon. Basically anything in this tier could still be considered canon within the old continuity as long as it doesn't contradict anything from the tiers above. See, there were obviously still books, comics, and games released before this hierarchy was established, and without clear rules for what was allowed and what wasn't, there obviously had to be some inconsistencies here and there. The aforementioned Thrawn trilogy, widely loved as it is, actually did its fair share of contradicting what would later be established by the prequels regarding what exactly the Clone Wars were, how they started, and how they ended. Of course, it was just one of many older books to talk about the Clone Wars. Many others did this as well, and they were all pretty contradictory to one another. But again, retcons are a thing, and so written material from the Clone Wars multimedia project, which I'll be talking a lot more about later on in this video, were able to save the Thrawn trilogy from being completely wiped from the canon, incorporating elements from its version of the Clone Wars into its own stories to sort of make it all valid. This is an example of C canon once again saving the day, because if you ask me, it's the best here. And finally, we have N canon, or put more simply, non-canon material. This mostly pertains to various works like the Infinities, which are a whole other thing that I'm not even going to get into. But essentially, this category belongs to any work that was never meant to be canon in the first place, and were just written for the fun of it. Things like Skippy the Jedi Droid, which a lot of EU criticizers like to reference in order to belittle the old canon, or Tag and Bink are just a few examples, or The Star Wars, which was a comic series pulling from George's original draft.
It's an interesting hierarchy. I wonder how much George Lucas was aware of it. Like, this isn't a fan thing. I'm assuming it's like an official Lucasfilm stance, right? Because I feel like you're saying, like, this is saying that you've got levels of canon where the highest one, the George Lucas one, will always overwrite the lower levels. But then before he was saying that the final level is the one which is like written to be non-canon. But then by that logic, aren't all of them that aren't G level like written by George Lucas, aren't they all non-canon because or like intended to be non-canon because George Lucas is the only canon that exists? Like he can override them all. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's a strange hierarchy. I wonder like who came up, like how did you come up with this? It's interesting. Did you know that Pablo revealed recently that they contacted George when deciding whether to do Obi-Wan versus Vader round 2 in the show? No, that's pretty funny though. Why? I mean, I don't know. I was gonna say why would you bother, but I guess people at Lucasfilm kind of respect him, so I guess it makes sense. I don't know. I like it. George Lucas is great. He made the prequels. We love him. He made the Clone Wars. It's so wild just how involved George was in the Clone Wars and all the little things he cared about. Yeah. It's great. Every story I've ever heard has been like, wow, I can't believe he actually knew about this. It's great. Just make 2 republics. True. That's basically what they did. I do think it's good to distinguish stuff like Visions and the Lego films as non-canon. No. Maybe the tier approach is probably, I don't know. I don't think canon, does canon even matter, really? Maybe canon only matters in continuity of medium, right? Like maybe all the movies should exist in the same canon, and then all the animated shows should exist in the same canon, and then maybe all the comic books should exist in their own canon. And they don't necessarily, there is not like a hierarchy, like, oh, the movies are like the superior canon or anything like that. They should just maybe just exist in their own slightly different multiverses. I think that'd probably be the easiest, because then you can get creativity while having a loose canon, like, between them, I guess. I don't know. Like, to me, when I'm thinking of canon, the only thing that bothers me is, like, in Dragon Ball Super, where whoever decided, I'm sure it's not Toriyama, he decided that, like, why am I saying he? Whatever, Vegito, he split up. Oh my god, they put the earrings and it's meant to be permanent, now they split up, and it's like, oh. So what's canon now at this point? Like, the original series or, like, this new one? And I'm like, oh, I guess everyone should have their own canon, because this is absolutely not my canon. I don't know. Stop joking, silly. True. I guess everything is canon because Disney made it. True. The Doctor Who video I mentioned earlier has a 20-minute long chapter about canon versus creative liberty. True. Wait, you linked? Oh, you mentioned earlier. True. Yeah. So whatever someone suggests to think that to like rectify what the definition of canon is, if it doesn't line up with my hatred for Dragon Ball Super, then I'm never gonna accept it. So I don't know. Canon is what you believe, all right? A story is what you believe. That's the conclusion we've come to. Link it sounds funny. Sure, link it. It's probably better than this video, honestly. This seems like an overview of the way canon works, and I'm assuming at the end an emotional plea for returning to canon and a blaming on Dave Filoni. I don't know.
Drafts and ideas for the Star Wars universe before they were eventually finalized into what we know them as today. These are just some of many that are honestly pretty interesting and worth checking out. The only tier below this is D-canon, which I didn't even know was a thing before making this video, because the only thing that falls into this category is the series Star Wars Detours, which never ended up actually coming out to begin with, so it's irrelevant, and I'm not really sure why an entire category had to be made for this when it essentially would have just fallen into N-canon. Anyway, like I said, I want to circle back to T-canon, which is obviously the most—
Remember that one time that random test footage came out for whatever that level of Coruscant was? It was some like Undercity Coruscant thing, and it just like randomly got released, and everyone was like, what is this? How does this exist? It was like the coolest day ever in like Star Wars fandom. What was the show? It was like a level of the Coruscant Depths, whatever it was called. Star Wars Coruscant. You know how I spell Coruscant, by the way? I spelled it wrong. I know how to spell it now because I think of the episode 1 documentary where Jake Lloyd mispronounces it in his like first time saying it. Is like Coruscant. And now every time I spell Coruscant, I'm like, oh yeah, Coruscant, obviously. Anyway. Was it level 99 or something? No, it can't be. TV show. Underworld? No, that's not what I'm thinking about. No, was it a game, but also a TV show? Surely someone here knows what I'm talking about, right? Star Wars Coruscant test footage. I guess it was Underworld. Like, this was crazy. It just, like, randomly came out. Like, this looks sick. Oh, it's like a behind the scenes thing. I had no idea. I guess I just never followed up with it. Released test footage from 2010 of the cancelled Star Wars TV show Underworld, which was to take place in the lower levels of Coruscant. The series was set after the events of Order 66. The video game 1313. That's what I was thinking. It was a video game then. Okay, was to be a tie-in to this series. Due to the immense cost of the shooting the series, as well as selling of Lucasfilm to Disney, Underworld was delayed and eventually cancelled. Crazy. Marvel and DC continuity is so funny, you should look into them. I feel like that's just like a clusterfuck. Like, it's just got to be like, everyone's dying and coming back, and there's multiverses and universes and omniverses and different writers that are I have no idea how they possibly resolve all that. And then there's like, what, they've rebooted it and made like, there's just one universe or something in Marvel or DC or something. I don't know. It's a mess. For real, it's crazy how one writer can fuck it up so badly, so fast, and the ones that come after just have to deal with it. True. I mean, that's what happened in episode 8 and 9, right? You got 7, nice foundation. Episode 8, Rian Johnson, you know, subverts things, and then episode 9 is left to deal with it. Crazy. Like the whole Mephisto deal with Spider-Man. Well, no idea. The way that the current Superman is a fusion of 2 Supermans from different continuities so that fans of both continuity are happy. That's fantastic. And Miller got it before I saw it, I think. 1313. Oh, a show. True. Or hold up, I forgot I can't send links through here. True, yeah. It's either Discord or like type the name and I can like search it. Join the Discord in the top right and send it. Look at this. Miller promoted my Discord. My God. I guess let's continue until we get a link.
Most relevant for the topic of this video. Before I continue, I have to address the fact that this canon sort of trumps whatever written material from C canon that I bring up. If I mention, for instance, that Barriss Offee was never a terrorist who bombed the Jedi Temple and turned to the dark side, but instead continued to be a Jedi all the way up until Order 66, where she died on Felucia, the obvious...
Oh, there it is. But can you believe Barriss? She like blew up the temple or whatever, and now we're expected to forgive her for what she's done? Oh my God, crazy. Oh Jesus, it's 3 hours long. Oh my God. The Doctor Who Conundrum, Stuck in a Time Loop, a video essay by a channel with only 29,000 subs. A damn 3 hour and 10-minute long video. Crazy. The moment Walt... Jesus, these videos are so long. I couldn't possibly imagine making a video this long. How do people do it? Crazy. Is Barriss blowing up the temple racist? Wait, why would it be racist? Doesn't she do it for political reasons? Wouldn't it be like terrorism more than racism? I don't know. The canon versus artistic liberty thing goes until 27 minutes. How to criticize Doctor Who. The Star Beast. That was the first of the specials, right? Yeah. Wild Blue Yonder, that was the second one. The Giggle. Church on Ruby Road, what an episode, my God. Politics Anew, The Backlash, Stuck in a Time Loop, The Fitzroy Club, Dr. What? I was rewatching the Twice Upon a Time or whatever. God damn. The joke that they make, and it's... The old-timey, like, sexism joke is just so funny. Where, like, these 2 old men, one from, like, the past, like a general in the war, whatever, Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart, and the First Doctor, when they're in the TARDIS, and they're like, and I think Bill is like, oh, you know, wouldn't you like a woman made of glass or whatever? And he's like, aren't all women made of glass? And he's like holding his like collar like this, and the other guy's like laughing too, and it's like these 2 old sexist men are like laughing at women being made of glass. It's like the funniest joke I've seen of all time. God. Anyway. The canon versus artistic liberty. I read that already. Look at what Barriss wears, Ari. It's racist? Wait, what? I don't know this discourse. Barriss Offee. What would I be looking at? Wait, this? What's racist about this outfit? Or does she wear something different when she's, I don't know. Oh, you know what? Maybe she is racist, okay? Who knows? But she's a good guy now, okay? Well, I guess she's like well, spoilers, but, you know, some stuff's happening with her. Church on Ruby Road is the best of the new era. I mean, it's one of the best. I don't know. I would say Wild Blue Yonder, The Giggle, Church on Ruby Road, and the Maestro one, whatever that was. Those are all like basically like 10s, like 5 out of 5s. I really like all those episodes.
The year is 1986, and Doctor Who is on the chopping block.
29,000 subs with a no pop filter and a low quality mic. Come on, you can do this, buddy.
After a
how many Patreon subs have we got here? Okay, only 13. Then so I can forgive you then. With $25 a month, you could probably buy a better mic for like $80, right?
Controversial few years under showrunner John Nathan Turner, resulting in increasingly low ratings, the show had been axed, and it was only through the rallying cry of very devoted fans and one extremely banger song that the show was able to get back on the air. Hans Zimmer was involved with the production of the song. I'm not even fucking with you. Even though the show would be returning, its future was tenuous at best, and if it wanted to survive much longer, it would have to prove itself to BBC's higher-ups. The show was on trial, so John Nathan Turner and script editor Eric Sayward leaned into it, creating The Trial of a Time Lord, a special season of the show comprising 4 stories.
The accused will remain silent until invited to speak.
The accused? Do you mean me? If he is found guilty, I strongly suggest the termination of his life.
They also brought back one of Doctor Who's most popular writers of days past, Robert Holmes, in order to aid them in this effort. The show's future hinged on the success of this season. And having seen it, I can say that that's very unfortunate.
Protect me! I am the Lord and Master!
God, there's probably some really good classic Who episodes, right? I've only seen like 2 of them, or like 2 like arcs or whatever, but they were fun. It kind of sucks because the first Doctor was pretty much never like that in the classic series. Oh yeah, I know, don't worry, I understand. I know people got outraged at it, their poor like favorite Doctor has now become reduced to like a sexist caricature or whatever, but I think it's really funny, so I like it. And I have no attachment to the first Doctor, so it doesn't bother me at all. Are you Dr. Falls pilled now? God, there's one scene, which I linked to Miller, which is why he's bringing it up, I think, of the Doctor revealing his, like, how he's actually won or whatever against Missy and the Master, and he, like, goes on a keyboard and does this, and then the Master, like, high fives, and I'm like, this is so sick, oh my god. And then I didn't watch it, but I, like, clicked through the reaction that Blindwave did, because I'm like, oh, what are the scenes in this episode? I think it's probably a good episode. What did it get on IMDb? Because IMDb, love it or hate it, it's usually right. If an episode has a high rating on IMDb, it's usually actually a really good episode. Now, you can't determine if something is, like, one of the best episodes of all time, like a 10 out of 10, because brigading happens now. Like, all the Attack on Titan ones, which I think are obviously, like, some of the best episodes of Attack on Titan, they're obviously, like, being brigaded and they're, like, lower quality now. Even things like Attack on Titan, like, Breaking Bad, like, those best episodes are down because of it. Like, what is there? Like, Two Brothers and 9.7, like, I don't know. Memories of the Future, 9.7. These are obviously, like, way lower than they should be. And I don't mean, like, oh my god, they're actually 10 out of 10 perfect episodes. I'm saying, like, compared to the other really high episodes of Attack on Titan, these should be, like, way higher, but obviously they're being, like, brigaded or whatever. Anyway, this brings me back to Doctor Who. What are they? See, season 10, right? Why did I click on 12? 9? That means it's, like, really good. Like, people like this episode a lot. 9.1, Well Done Off in Time. God. Remember when the Master got revealed? It's like, your former prime minister. And I was like, oh my god, it's the Master from, like, when he was the John Sims, whatever his name is. Oh my god, crazy. When they revealed it was like a Cyberman, the Mondasian Cyberman, I was like, this is so cool. This is, like, the best thing Doctor Who's ever done. Crazy. I've only seen Genesis of the Daleks. I think I've seen that. If that's the first Doctor, when he first goes to the Skaro and sees the Daleks or whatever, I have seen that arc. I've seen the original, like, first few episodes where he, like, goes with Barbara and Ian or whatever, and they go to, like, the caveman times or something. I've seen that arc. That was good. I think those are the only 2 I've seen. He has a speech about how being kind is good. It's sick. My God, Capaldi is like, well, that's another thing. When I sent this clip to Miller about the Dr. Falls, just seeing Capaldi's face, like him just like saying things, just reminds me of how good of a doctor he is. It's crazy. He just looks like the Doctor, and he just behaves like the Doctor. I don't even know what to say. Like, I used to be a David Tennant is like the greatest Doctor ever or whatever, but then I like moved to like, okay, Matt Smith. I think Matt Smith is probably my favorite. Even like nostalgically, David Tennant is my favorite, but Matt Smith probably has like the best like episodes and best performance or whatever. But my God, Capaldi is like also, he's just so good. My God, my goodness. And Pears. I vaguely remember something about Pears, actually. Love that scene. And they make the Cybermen actually scary. Yeah, they do. God. Genesis of the Daleks is Tom Baker, and it's... Oh, no, that I haven't seen it. And the first appearance of Davros. Nope, haven't seen it. I've seen no Tom Baker episodes. You know what I always question? So, Calvin from the Blind Wave reaction channel, he often references having seen a lot of classic Who. I wonder how much he's actually seen. And how much is he, like, exaggerating, you know? I just wonder, sometimes. Doctor Who is crazy because there's episodes that people could call objectively bad, but I'd still give them 10 because of specific scenes that I think are awesome. Very true. And Miller says true, Ari. Thank you, Miller. I'm glad you're on my side for this one. Calvin's a funny guy, isn't he? The little liar, that guy. I don't know. I think sometimes he goes along with peer pressure. Not peer pressure, but like... rather than say something, rather than admit like a small like mistake or whatever, you would just like go along with it because it's like socially easier. I feel like I've done that, and I can see it sometimes when like Calvin does it. I don't know. It's funny. We all do stuff like that.
Working on Trial of a Time Lord is what killed Robert Holmes. The show was never truly able to recover in the ratings, and just a few years later, it would be cancelled forever. Meaning until 2005. Now, why am I opening a video about the 60th anniversary on this tidbit? Well, because sometimes history has a habit of repeating itself. I'm just kidding. That's how I would open the video if I was a negative Nancy. Because no matter what your opinion of the new Doctor Who episodes is, there's no way you can say they're as bad as Trial of a Time Lord. And plus, the BBC was actively
Is that meant to be a bad clip? Because that looks sick. Oh my God.
Aspiring to take the show off the air in the 80s, whereas now it seems like they're relying on it like a lifeline. So these two periods in the show's history are very distinct. And yet, despite all this, there are still some serious similarities, especially where the court of public opinion is concerned. But before we get into all that, let's celebrate. 60 years of Doctor Who, ladies and gentlemen. This one television show has been on the air entertaining scores of annoying halfling people, and some adults too, for 6 decades, carving itself a place in television history and spreading British propaganda to foreigners like me far and wide. I would have been brainwashed into unconditionally loving Britain by now if it weren't for all the commenters that derogatorily called me American and said I wasn't allowed to have an opinion on the show because of this. Even though I'm not American, I'm Canadian, and guess what? So is the guy who came up with the idea for the show. Google it. You motherfuckers, we give you the idea and this is how you repay us. Fucking ungrateful. No other show in history has changed as much over such a long period of time as Doctor Who, making it, in my opinion, one of the most interesting shows out there to analyze. Sure, there were some rough patches here and there, but if this show were a person, it could start thinking about retirement. That's an accomplishment worth celebrating. However, I do fear that Doctor Who, in its old age, may be having something of a midlife crisis, because it's really trying to recapture its youth. Following an especially controversial few years under showrunner Chris Chibnall, the show is officially resetting back to season 1, and Russell T Davies, the man responsible for helming the show's most critically beloved era, is back at the wheel. But that's not all. They also brought back David Tennant, who was the face of this era, and Murray Gold, the composer of this era, and all the producers that produced this era, and presumably the head janitor from this era as well. Russell also brought back everybody's favorite red...
Was it actually? I wonder, was series 1 to 4 really the most like critically acclaimed or whatever? Or did he say most popular, whatever he said? I think that's strange. Wouldn't the show have become more popular when like streaming series came out? I don't know. Disney needs to add Classic Who already. I'd watch it all. True. Surely it's available somewhere, right? Actually, I say that, but it probably isn't now that I think about it. Just watch. Doctor Who. Well, I guess it's on Foxtel now. 1 season. You can buy it on Microsoft. 17 seasons. Crazy. After Russell T Davies, people started comparing it to Russell T Davies. Well, I guess they had nothing to compare to before that. I guess that makes sense.
Red-headed companion, Melanie.
Oh my God, she came back.
Melanie was introduced in Trial of a Time Lord, fun fact. And thank God they brought her back, because I don't know if these specials would have worked if they hadn't included the only good companion Doctor Who's ever had. And perhaps most shockingly, the show will now be funded by Disney going forward.
I've got money. Yes, you have.
It's official.
Man, those side characters were so good back in the day. My God.
Have Doctor Who.
They just don't make side characters like they used to in Doctor Who.
Or it's been pointed out to me that I kind of accidentally foreshadowed a lot of these developments in my last video about Doctor Who. She's like Disney's version of the Doctor. The 7th Doctor has become a cult favorite in the Whoniverse, which is a word I've never used before and hopefully never will again. Who will the next Doctor be? What will they be like? Will they be another 11th Doctor clone? Will it be David Tennant? I think the universe is playing a cruel joke on me. What's important is that the band is back together. And they even gave David Tennant enough hair gel this time. Maybe they even overcompensated a little just because of how much they messed up with the 50th. It's so
that is true. I don't know why they messed up the hair. It would be so easy. Anyway. Bro, Ace looks so cool. She beats up Daleks with a baseball bat. I'm sure she did. That's great.
Flat. So, yay! They brought Mr. Good Writer Man back. Doctor Who is saved. The end. How much video is left? Oh my goodness.
I think the story hasn't ended yet.
Uh-oh. Rewound.
Hello viewers, this is post-editing Verdana just jumping in to say that chapter 1 of...
Wait, it even has a... I guess it's a wind sock or whatever, right? It's not a pop filter. Why is the microphone popping so much?
This video is kind of its own self-contained analysis of the greater landscape of media criticism and writing trends in recent fiction. It's all necessary setup for everything I say later in the video about Doctor Who as a whole, but if you're only here because you want to see my thoughts on the 60th anniversary specials in particular, you can skip this opening segment. I wouldn't recommend it. I'm not encouraging you to, because I think it's important, but it is kind of its own discussion that is largely separate from Doctor Who.
I'm here for everything except for his review.
I spend a decent amount of it talking about Star Wars, so the choice is yours. You should watch it though if you want to get the full experience.
How to criticize Doctor Who.
Chibnall bad. This sums up what the Doctor Who discourse has been for the last 6 years. Ratings down,
Probably true.
fans unsatisfied, retcons that people don't like, etc., etc., etc. In the lead up to the 60th,
are there people out there who, like, I know you guys are probably more involved in the Doctor Who fandom for the past few years since I left it a little bit. Are there people who like the Chibnall era? Like, who defend it and be like, no, actually, it's as good as, like, the 2 previous ones? I've never seen anyone who does that, but maybe there is. I don't know. Lamau. I wish in Act 1 of movies, a guy would show up on screen and give me permission to skip to Act 2. True, that'd be great. Oh my god. It's like the skip the intro button in like Netflix shows or whatever. There are. Crazy. Yeah, there are stands. Crazy. Interesting. Okay. I wonder if I would be one of them if I like kept watching. I feel like I defend things that are bad sometimes, like Ruby. What else? What's something bad that I defend? Surely there's something. Besides Ruby. Steins Gate Zero, apparently people hate that. Yeah.
Discourse surrounding the show had gotten quite nasty. I mean, pretty much everyone's contributed to it to some extent, including me. The very first attempts at video essays I ever made on YouTube were about Chris Chibnall's Doctor Who, and I have grown to hate these half-baked ass videos, but that's not the point. The reason I never followed these up with any more Chibnall bad videos is because, well, it's already been said. Even though I still strongly dislike Chibnall's era, there's no reason to milk it for video after video after video of repeating the same talking points over and over and over and over and over. But out of this backlash was born a backlash to the backlash. Chibnall's era has found its fans online, who are increasingly dismissive of common criticisms of the era. And I think currently there's less agreement amongst fans on how to properly criticize the show than there's ever been before. And
I'm trying to think, what's my issue with 11? Oh, not 11, Jesus. Season 11? How much have I not seen, actually? It can't be that much. And I'll defend it because people oversell how bad it is sometimes. I'm sure, yeah. Like, Series 11 is pretty good. All the companions are good. Yeah. I remember liking Graham. Was that his name? Graham or something? I remember thinking he was really cool. And I love the first episode, The Woman Who Fell to Earth. I remember really liking this. Like the camera, like it all looked a lot better than the previous seasons. I remember enjoying the guy. I remember he like couldn't ride a bike or something because he had some like motor disorder or something like that. That was really cool. I liked Graham. I liked the villain with the teeth or whatever. I thought Jodie was really cool. Like her crashing into the train or whatever and like giving her speech. That was all sick. Was it a grandmother dying or something because she fell off a crane? Like that, it was a good episode. I like this. Anyway, let's not rehash this. I feel like I've done this a million times on stream, like gone over all these episodes. But whatever, let's see. I never saw this. Rosa was the last one I stopped at. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 that I haven't seen. 8, 9. I've seen Orphan 55. 10. I've seen Fugitive of the Dude, I think. So 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So it's not that bad. I'm only missing 15 episodes. I've seen all of season 13 and onwards. I could watch that in like 2 weeks or a week even. But thinking about it honestly, really the only thing I can really evaluate is season 13. The thing that was missing from season 13 was, I guess, fun. It didn't really feel very fun at all. But it wasn't like bad. I actually enjoyed the flux and stuff. I thought it was actually a decently compelling overarching storyline. The Weeping Angel episode, I remember thinking, damn, this is really cool. So I like that one a lot. Where the Weeping Angel is like speaking through the lady, I think. Yeah. Like, this was sick. Don't you want to be like me, Ari, and say you've seen all of New Who? I do. I truly, I had every intention of watching Doctor Who. I just like, one day, I got to Rosa, like I watched Rosa, and then for whatever reason I got busy, and then like I was like, oh, let me just like, I'll wait till the whole season is out and I'll like binge it. And then everyone kept saying it was bad, and then I lost motivation. I had like a variety of other shows, and I just happened into never watching it. Yeah. Honestly, I think it's boring, so I stopped watching after series 12. Yeah, maybe that could be the case. I think it's just like, yeah, it was missing the fun of it. But then again, Orphan 55, which everyone hates, that was fun. I like that. That was a decent episode. It was more funny, I guess, because of, I guess, maybe how bad it is, but funny is like a good thing. The worst thing it did to the canon was have the master genocide all of Gallifrey. I vaguely remember something like that. Maybe I watched like part of Blindwave's reaction to it. I don't know. So now 15 is back to being the last of the Time Lords. Like nothing has changed since 9. That's great. Or the Master is really good. Love that guy. Yeah, I did like the performance. He was the guy from An Adventure in Space and Time. Was he? I think. Maybe not. Or is from something else I've seen. I don't know. Yeah, the actor is great. The Nikola Tesla episode was a banger. That sounds cool, but I haven't seen it. Doctor Who. Anyway, back to this. Then I'm going to end probably pretty soon. It's getting very late.
If we're going to proceed, we need to establish a definitive framework through which I can criticize this show. Definitively. A lot of the runtime in my original Chibnall video essays focused on how I perceived the filmmaking to be very shoddy and amateurish at times. But a fan of Chibnall's era might retort by saying, the show has always looked cheap, so why are you singling this era out? Some of them might even go on to say the campiness is a part of the show's identity and should be encouraged. Let me give you an example. Here's a moment from the Series 2 premiere, New Earth. It's obviously laughably bad, but it's also undeniably hilarious and kind of charming. And if you happen to like camp, this was practically made for you. Oh, and fun fact, for some reason Doctor Who has never been able to do falling shots well. I don't know why, it's just a consistent rule. So here's my question. Is campiness in Doctor Who a good thing? I mean, sure, it can take me out of a scene, but at the same time, it does bring me a lot of enjoyment. Like, you wouldn't say that the campiness should be taken out of something like a Rocky Horror Picture Show, because that's the appeal. I mean, Doctor Who's reboot was based on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, another show people love for being cheesy. Is Doctor Who in the same boat? Let's just put a pin in that for a minute. What's a more objective critique? What about pointing out a hole in the show's logic? That's a fair and valid critique, right? Well, you'd think, but there are a lot of people who very avidly swear that logical inconsistencies don't matter because this is an inherently goofy and ridiculous show. And when a show is funny goofy, it doesn't have to make sense. You'll see this all over Twitter or in any comment section criticizing the logic of an episode. It's a dumb family show, it's meant to be fun, not to make sense. If it were trying to be some sort of hyper-realistic sci-fi, not every alien would just look like a human with their face painted red, and the rules of time travel wouldn't change every week depending on who's writing the episode. Shut up and enjoy it. And plus, the Doctor Who universe is so expansive that trying to hold true to every last tiny diminutive piece of lore the show has ever put out there would be an almost impossible task, and even if you did, it might limit your options as a writer, right? Before we can go any further, dear
this is the whole Disney argument where Disney was like, well, we don't want to limit our creativity with the sequels. Let's just treat the movies and Clone Wars as canon.
I need to answer both of these questions right here, right now. And to do this, I need to ask another question. Yeah, we're getting somewhere, I promise. What kind of show is Doctor Who? I mean, for us to know whether cheesiness is good and a lack of logic...
It's a family sci-fi show which originally was meant to teach kids lessons about like history, but gave up on that pretty early, so I don't know. I love Sicklet's respect for the camp. Yeah. I think of the questions he's asked here, I think I side on the side of campiness is good, like very good. But then I started questioning, like, what is camp? What is camp? Is there like a better campiness? Campiness? Wait, define campiness. Campy. Oh my god. Used to describe an activity or someone's behavior or appearance that is funny because it obviously intended to be strange or shocking. I was thinking, like, in the church on Ruby Road, all the goblins singing a song, to me that feels very campy. And the fact that, like, practical effects, whatever, it feels very campy, but I love it. Like, that element of it is really good. Yeah, I don't know.
Is fine, we first need to definitively say what Doctor Who's goal as a piece of art is. For example, a sitcom's goal above all else is to make you laugh. A soap's goal is to make you cry, an action film's goal is to excite you, a mystery film's goal is to intrigue you. So what is the goal of Doctor Who, a show that's always changing? Should it be first and foremost educational? That was the original purpose of the show when it first hit the airwaves.
It's an Aztec mask. We must have died around 1470.
Also, I guess I didn't say, but I completely disagree. Firstly, I completely disagree that there's like an objective way to like analyze something like this. Also, I completely disagree with this framing of like the genres or whatever. I guess my perspective is that a genre is applied post hoc. Like, you don't create something based on a genre. Like, you don't have an idea of mystery and then create a story that comes from the idea of mystery. I think you create a story and it would be classified as mystery if it like has mystery elements to it. Like, I don't think a mystery has to. How did he describe it? Wait.
Kind of show is Doctor Who. I mean, for us to know what a soap's goal is to make you cry, an action film's goal is to excite you.
Like, a soap's goal is to make you cry. I don't think it has a goal. I think something like a show is made and then it like can be considered a soap opera if it like fits into like a variety of like general other things that you consider to be soap operas. Like, in a similar way to like what is a woman? A woman is like all these like concepts that relate to womanhood or whatever, right? Like, I would say genres are kind of like that too. I guess all words are kind of like that. It's like a philosophy thing. I don't know. Anyway, I love Secrets. He defines it better in the video. I'm sure he does.
A mystery film's goal is to intrigue you. So what is the goal of Doctor Who, a show that's always changing? Should it be first and foremost educational? That was the original purpose of the show when it first hit the airwaves.
It's an Aztec mask. We must have died around 1430, I should think. How do you know that? All these things belong to the Aztecs' early period.
Though with the popularity of the Daleks, that quickly stopped being the case. Or should it be scary? That's what the show was most known for the first few decades of its run, though I wouldn't say people tend to think of it as scary nowadays.
Oh, that was another great gag with this. This is your worst nightmare or whatever. Oh my god, anyway.
What about emotional? Good drama is often cited as the reason the 2005 reboot of the show was able to take off, until everyone started calling it a melodrama, or conceptual. Each episode an exploration of the
Wait, when did people call it a melodrama? I've never heard that.
In futures that could await us if we're not careful, like Black Mirror.
See that there? That's the Great Atlantic Smog Storm. It's been going 20 years. We get news flashes telling us when it's safe to breathe outside.
So the population just sits there?
Unless that's a little too depressing. Alternatively, should it be a comedy? Enjoyment first.
Wait, was that a Orphan 55 or whatever flash?
Wait, if we're not careful, like Black Mirror.
See that there? That's the Great Atlantic Smog Storm. It's been going 20 years. We get news flashes telling us when it's safe to breathe outside.
So the population just sits there?
Unless that's a little...
Oh my god, it is, right? This is when she... No, I don't know.
Depressing. Alternatively, should it be a comedy? Enjoyment first, plot second. Because fun is all that matters. Except that everyone complains when episodes like that come out. Truthfully, its goal seems to change with every episode. It is what I like to refer to as a sandbox show, because from a writing standpoint, it is a playground. It can be one thing one episode,
When I close my eyes, I hear more screams than anyone could ever be able to count.
and then something entirely different the next. Doctor Who isn't tied down to a regular cast, setting, theme, or even genre. It just does whatever the fuck it wants. You gotta respect that. That being said, the show has had its fair share of different eras, and each era has different priorities, like a new coat of paint. Some eras are more silly, some are more serious, some are more, what the fuck did I just watch?
Come on, you must take the load. You must.
The one constant is change. With this in mind, let's return to the first question. Is cheesiness a good thing in Doctor Who? Honest answer, it depends on the episode, and what that episode's...
Well, it depends on the person watching it, I would say, right? Like, if you're like a family who's sitting down to watch Doctor Who, then cheesiness can be good. If you're like a... someone who watches Doctor Who for sci-fi elements, then cheesiness isn't good because you just want to watch good sci-fi, right? I don't know.
Goals are. Sometimes it can be. You look at something like The End of the World and it leans into its campiness really effectively. It's not my favorite episode of the show ever, but it is undeniably very fun.
Let us mourn her with a traditional ballad.
I think the reason why the cheesiness...
Wait, was that canon? Did they actually do that or did he edit that in? I don't remember that. It's great.
Here is because it matches the tone that the episode is trying to convey, absurdism. Other times I think the cheesiness can be a problem, and the snippet from New Earth I played earlier is an example of that. Another episode that features Cassandra. Look at that. I think what's important here is that the actual emotion the scene was trying to touch on, i.e. making the audience scared of the threat pursuing the Doctor and Rose, does not come through owing to the poor execution. I think the argument that audiences inherently like cheesiness within Doctor Who really gets disproven by the fact that just about all of Doctor Who's top-rated episodes are not cheesy episodes, and most of its lowest-rated episodes are. You wouldn't say that one of Doctor Who's psychological horror episodes, like Midnight, would be better if it was goofier, or at least I hope you wouldn't. The same logic applies to Doctor Who's spin-offs, even the ones shooting for different age demographics. One of the most critically acclaimed pieces of Doctor Who media ever released is Torchwood Children of Earth, which is an extremely dark miniseries detailing an alien invasion that targets children. Children of Earth stands in stark contrast with early Torchwood seasons in terms of its directing and editing, and there are no scenes that involve a sexy Cyberman fighting a CGI pterodactyl with wacky—
God, Torchwood's the best, isn't it? We love it. It's in the episode, lol. Wow. All right, well, good for them. Classic music in the classic episode.
sound effects playing over it. Comparatively, this season feels like prestige drama. It's vastly less cheesy, and yet everyone likes it more. It's also one of the darkest pieces of Doctor Who.
Whoa. Oh, God. This is all getting into, like, the objectivity stuff. I guess it's fair to say that the majority of people probably like Children of Earth more. I guess that's a claim to make. I don't know. Like, I love, like, there's so many episodes, random episodes of, not Sherlock, Jesus, Torchwood, that I think are, like, better than Children of Earth or whatever. But overall, it's, like, it's very different. Like, you can't really compare them because, like, the thing they're going for is so different. Like what he was saying before. I don't know.
Who media ever released. Deformed Captain Jack Harkness jump scare. Children of Earth again proves that Doctor Who has more pull than just goofy camp. Even where its spin-off shows are concerned, there are other things that audiences are looking for here. Even with that being said, I still enjoy camp.
Travel halfway across the universe for the greatest sex. You still end up dying alone.
But I also think there's an important distinction to be made between camp and cringe. What's the difference? Camp is just anything absurd, exaggerated, or cheap looking in the show that can be very enjoyable, and the show can be self-aware of.
There are 3 important, brilliant, and complicated reasons why you should listen to me. 1.
Cringe, on the other hand, is when the show sets out to do something and completely fails at it. Take something like The Lie of the Land. Extremely in-your-face political commentary that makes 1984 look subtle by comparison.
Everything they told us, all that we believe now, is a lie.
Check. First-year film student editing that thinks it's being really deep.
I'm going to be here for a long time yet.
Check. Seriously.
That looks sick. What's wrong with this?
Who put this here? I want to know. Extremely forced humor. Check-a-rooney. This episode may be camp, but it's also cringe. And cringe is not good. Cringe is bad. Remember this distinction because it will be on the test. And on that note, let's move on to question 2. Does Doctor Who require logical consistency in its writing? To be fair, this is a question that extends far beyond Doctor Who. I think everyone remembers when The Last Jedi came out and this debate was raging around Star Wars. That was such a fun time to be online.
It just fills me up with so much rage inside of my body that it starts lighting my brain cells on fire.
Does it have to be 100% in line with the lore of the movies that came prior? This is the movie that really got this debate raging. Do the characters have to act the same way we remember them, or can the creators take certain liberties to tell the story that they want to tell? The verdict was, and still remains, split down the middle into 2 factions. One side believes that films and TV should prioritize realism and logical consistency above all else. The other that they should prioritize themes and escapism. Camp A is more likely to criticize plot holes or contrived character motivations, and Camp B is more likely to criticize a piece of art's underlying message or the emotional experience they had with it. I've also noticed that most people—
This is a very good split. I think this is an accurate thing. Like, on one hand, you've got what is this Muller's side or whatever, I guess. And on this side, you've got the blind wave side, I guess.
Camp A tend to view art criticism as objective, whereas most in Camp B tend to view it as subjective. And for years now, most online discourse about—
Oh my god, I got Muller right. Your movie sucks. I think he just doesn't care about Star Wars, right? I don't know these other 2. H Bomber Guy, we hate him. Jack Saint, don't know who that is. Jenny Nicholson, we love her, she's great. Patrick H. Willems, no idea.
Movies has been swallowed by this larger debate, with more and more YouTubers becoming entrenched into their own faction, and the war continues to rage to this day.
At the end of my assessment, I said that the film was overall objectively bad in terms of filmmaking. It is of poor quality. The utterly broken script was bleeding errors with every second of screen time that passed. There is an ongoing conversation about objectivity versus subjectivity. I have been made an example of by a handful of people as the channel who thinks his opinions are facts.
Or to put it like he likes to, his opinions are objective.
All those plot holes people complain about, they don't actually matter. So if everyone acted totally logically all the time, only making the most logical decision in any situation, no one would be acting human. Thus, there would be no conflict, which would lead to no drama, which would lead to no stories.
Just as it's also true that if characters—
I don't think that's true, right? Well, okay, I guess I feel like that's a straw man, right? I don't know the context for any of this, but when people say that they want people to act logically, they don't mean like, oh, be the most rational being in all of creation. They mean logically in the framework of like real life, like the same way that real humans act logically. Like someone in a horror movie, like not running when they see like a monster in front of them, that's like illogical. Because like in real life, it's not like that some perfect logical being will like run away. It's like, but in real life, most people will run away or whatever. I don't know. I don't know.
Making random
Why am I getting triggered by some random insert shot in this
logical
thing?
decisions just to further the plot, they're not acting human either. And the fact that humans aren't purely logical creatures isn't something you can just whip out to justify any character decision you like.
Whoa, wait a minute. Is that what I... Wait. We gotta get back. Wait, whose side was he on? Was he opposing me or was he on my side there?
Just as it's also true that if characters are making random illogical decisions just to further the plot, they're not acting human either. And the fact that humans aren't purely logical creatures isn't something you can just whip out to justify any character decision you like.
Here's Star Wars.
Well, yeah, that's true, but also that's not saying much,
Actor Sam Witwer explaining Dave Filoni's approach to writing, which falls pretty squarely into the formalist camp I discussed, though Filoni takes it to an extreme.
Dave Filoni and I once had this argument that educated me greatly, because I was all concerned. There was this thing I was recording.
If you told me that this was an AI voice, I would believe it. It sounds very AI. I'm kind of enthralled and curious what his take on the recent episodes is. True, we're getting there. Adam from Your Movie Sucks got drunk on a live stream recently and gave 1 out of 10 to all Star Wars movies out of nowhere. Yeah, I think I saw like a compilation of that. Like he uploaded a video or something. I did see that.
It was Darth Maul for this audiobook, and it wasn't, strictly speaking, consistent with something we did in Clone Wars. Right. And I said, Dave, what should I do? Should I tell them to change the lines? Should I blah, blah, what do you think? How do I solve this problem? And he just said, Sam, it's good if the stories are different. Well, what do you mean? It has to be consistent. He's like, no, it doesn't. These are all tall tales. And they all of the tellings, it's great if it's a little bit different. That's reason to go seek that out, to get a different perspective on the same story. This campfire that night that was told that story, this happened and Ahsoka's lightsaber was blue. But over here, you heard the same story and Ahsoka's lightsaber was green. And that's good. And when I thought about what he said, I'm like, he's right. And that's always been the way it was with George.
Dave Filoni value.
That's like very different to what I was getting from, was it the other video we were watching? The problem with Dave Filoni? Or maybe this was my speculation because I don't think he's actually said anything about Dave Filoni yet. But I guess I was assuming, okay, first Dave Filoni respects the fans, so he's not going to want to insult the things that they find canon. But then I thought maybe this guy is going to come up with a quote where Dave actually said, oh, we just like make the stories and forget about like, we just try and tell the best stories regardless of canon. But I guess what he's saying here is that we treat every story as a potential canon for those individual people. Like if you're watching a story and there's like contradicting narratives, you can kind of choose what you believe to be the truth. And the way that we're filtering, the way that what we're showing on screen is just like one interpretation of the truth that is actually within a particular universe or something, which is, I think that's a really interesting position. Like I respect Dave for that. That's like, I kind of like that. Any sane person will criticize media for both categories, but more importance in the themes and message. But put more importance into the themes and message. Probably, yeah. Like plot holes can bother me, but they don't bother me if I enjoy something for another reason greater than the plot holes. I don't know. Yeah.
Use the viewing experience of his shows more than he does their logical consistency. If he wants to do something, he kind of just does it, regardless of whether it actually fits into the greater Star Wars timeline. In this sense, he's able to avoid constraints and tell whatever story he wants to tell.
That's not quite true, right? Like he still wants to maintain Star Warsness as like a concept. He's not going to go out and be like, oh my god, actually, this guy that we're introducing into the story was Anakin's real father, and Shmi was lying. Or something. He's not going to break canon that badly, right? There's some consistency he's holding to.
Random example. Filoni,
like the thing that Sam Witwer was just saying about how the lightsabers can be different colors, but it's not like he'd make Ahsoka not a Jedi in like make it that drastic of a thing for a major character. Maybe for minor things he would, because they're like not, I don't know.
Evidently liked the fight scene between Obi-Wan and General Grievous in Revenge of the Sith. So when he started working on the Clone Wars, he added in more fight scenes between them.
No, actually, when I was thinking about the Ahsoka thing, not a Jedi would be an acceptable change. Maybe like making her, changing a lot about her, like making her a fundamentally evil character instead of a good character or something like that. I feel like he wouldn't change that.
Except that the Clone Wars takes place before Revenge of the Sith in the timeline, and it was evident in that movie that this was their first ever duel.
You fool! I've been trained in your Jedi arts by Count Dooku.
He even went as far as to add references to the fight, which hadn't happened yet.
Hello there.
Hello there.
General Grievous is not the kind of dude that would have just said that. But on the flip side, by ignoring continuity, he managed to give us a...
Wait, why is he not the type of dude? He's like a some goofy guy who like coughs all the time. Why not?
Bunch of cool fight scenes. Many consider him to be one of the best Star Wars writers there's been, but as you can probably imagine, he also has a lot of passionate detractors. Again, it's really a question of what you value more, realism or formalism. So where do I fall in this debate? Personally, I've always been inclined to believe that themes are the most important piece of any art. After all, if you're not trying to convey any themes, what are you even trying to do? I do personally think that the subjective experience that a piece of art gives you is the most important thing it has to offer. And I can accept logic being stretched a little bit in service of a piece of art's themes or the emotions it wants to elicit. Like, John Wick films are allowed to break the laws of physics as much as they want because they're not supposed to be realistic movies, they're supposed to be fun action. That being said, I'm not of the opinion that logical consistency should be completely chucked out the window. You have to remember that millions of people are really invested in these fictional worlds, studying every last detail, every last frame. And if it feels like the creator isn't putting in the effort to actually keep track of what came before, why should the audience? In my mind, all inconsistencies will do is scare the audience off from actually paying attention to every last detail you present them. After all, if they notice something didn't seem right earlier but it didn't end up leading anywhere, why should they assume it will lead somewhere the next time? Which may cause them to miss out on intentional subtext that you actually want them to pick up on. What if the writers wanted to change a character's lightsaber as a representation of their changing personality? Viewers who might otherwise have caught on to this visual metaphor might now just think it was another mistake, kind of hampering the writer's ability to visually convey the themes they wanted to convey. And the honest truth is that this writing ideology has taken root in Doctor Who. I'll give an example. In Series 12, Chris Chibnall completely retconned the show, establishing that the Doctor had lived countlessly more lives than we knew about before.
Ooh, I wonder what side is going to take. Because I don't know much about it. I just know that it was a thing, the timeless child, the Doctor's adopted from another multiverse or something. I think that's really cool. Like, I like that. Because it's interesting. That's all it comes down to. I'm like, ooh, what an interesting development in a character.
Or regenerating into the first Doctor and having his memory wiped. This is known as the Timeless Child retcon. In episode 5, we meet one of these secret pre-Hartnell regenerations, known as the Fugitive Doctor. And we see
I've seen this episode. Whatever this is, I've seen it. Is this Fugitive of the Jadoon?
It's the same old recognizable blue police box we all know and love. And it sure does make for a shocking moment when the 13th Doctor uncovers it.
What is this? Let me take it from the top. Hello, I'm the Doctor.
What a cool twist, with only one slight problem. It doesn't make any sense. Now, one of the most surface-level pieces of knowledge that anyone could possibly know about Doctor Who is why the TARDIS looks the way that it does. It's referenced constantly.
What's with the police box? Why does it look like that?
It's a cloaking device.
The TARDIS is meant to disguise itself wherever it lands, but I landed in the 1960s. It disguised itself as a police box and the circuit got stuck.
The Doctor stole a broken TARDIS from Gallifrey, landed it in a London junkyard in the 1960s. It assumed the form of a police box to blend in. The chameleon circuit broke, and when he took off, it retained that shape forevermore.
It's still a police box. Why hasn't it changed?
This is something that practically every Doctor Who fan or even casual viewer should know. And this, of course, begs the question, if the Fugitive Doctor comes before the...
Wait, does it beg the question or does it raise the question? Oh my god.
First Doctor in the timeline, why does her TARDIS look like this? In fact, she shouldn't even have the same TARDIS at all. She hadn't stolen it yet. For this to make any sense...
That is a strange inconsistency that I'm sure that whoever, like Chris Chibnall or whoever's like over... like, I guess the writer or whoever's supervising the writing of this episode should know this. So I'm sure they have some answer. Is there any answer? I wonder. Like, did they say it in the episode? I don't remember. Obviously, you can come up with like a million theories in your mind or whatever, but I don't know. That is a strange thing for them to make a mistake on, or like to not consider.
Sense. You not only have to turn off your brain, but you have to actively fight against your basic knowledge of the show. Personally, I think I can safely say that this is bad.
Like, I mean, you could the thing my brain goes to is, oh, okay, so this previous incarnation of the Doctor before they were the Doctor, maybe because obviously at the end she's aware of the future Doctor, maybe she had other run-ins with previous incarnations of the Doctor, so she just like camouflages her TARDIS in the same way that they did, and then when she like gets her mind erased or whatever, which I assume is what happens, then for some reason it just maybe some vague memory made her land on some place and create the TARDIS to be the police box the same way it used to be. It's like a cyclical thing. I don't know.
Writing on purely logical grounds. Regardless of what you think of this retcon thematically, Doctor Who's lore at this point is fundamentally broken, something even the most diehard fans can admit, and I think that's a shame. As for people saying the show is so big there's no way it could possibly have a coherent lore, I don't really agree with that. In terms of New Who, at least, we've never really had a showrunner that tried to keep things coherent. Funny enough, one of my least favorite eras of the show, John Nathan Turner's, actually did a pretty good job keeping consistency between different Doctors and seasons. It felt like there was an unfolding story that built on what came before without contradicting it. And I like that. Turner held true to things that the show had established 20 years ago, and as opposed to feeling like a hindrance, keeping continuity actually gave the writers opportunities to continue these pre-existing stories in ways that felt natural.
Here's a take a peek at this.
1986? Oh no, and I thought we'd be able to get home.
Your planet survived the attack.
When did it happen?
1986. 86. Next year. That's almost now.
But forget about continuity for a second. What I really don't get is people who argue that episodes don't even have to have functioning internal logic, like as if plot holes or contrivances don't take away from the story in any way. If Doctor Who...
I mean, sometimes they don't, right? Like, if you value something other than the logic of an episode, then they can be, you can not even care about it. It can be a non-issue. Did I read that? Any sane person will criticize media. I read that. What Dave is saying is that Star Wars a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, so it's a collection of second-hand tales that contradict each other. Yeah, I guess. To me, that's an interesting perspective. I like that. Yeah, it's only extremely minor, so his reasoning comes off as an excuse. It's relatively minor, extremely minor, so his reasoning comes off as an excuse. I'm not sure if you're referring to the TARDIS thing or the Star Wars thing. I think embracing everything from the show's past, including the 13th stuff, and even building upon it is the most respectable thing Russell T Davies has done lately. It is really cool. Yeah, there's a lot of callbacks to everything. Like, I guess everyone was really surprised in, I think, the second episode when he actually acknowledged the flux and like the universe having been like 70% destroyed or whatever. That was really cool. I think the TARDIS thing I think the TARDIS thing is bad because of this. Jesus Christ. I think the TARDIS thing is bad because as of this episode, it's a mystery as to who this Doctor is. So the detail ruins how fans should solve the mystery. It depends. The issue is I just don't remember the episode enough, and I'd take your word for it more than I would my memory. But if, for instance, if in the next episode, like they have that episode, it gets revealed that the character is the Doctor, and the next episode, if they explain that there's a very good reason why her TARDIS looked like that, would that be good? Like, would there be an issue with that way? Like, would that still be an issue? I don't know. Like, what is the clue? If I'm understanding correctly, you can fix my logic here. You're saying that in the episode, the Doctor, the 13th Doctor or whatever, sees a TARDIS. And they're like, oh my god, it's a TARDIS. Who could this be? And then you're meant to think, oh my god, it must be like one of the existing Doctors. But then you get the reveal is that like it's actually another Doctor from before the Doctor existed. And then that's a problem because when you see the TARDIS buried, there's no way for you to figure out that it's like another Doctor from like before the Doctor. I don't know. Maybe. You can convince me.
Were Monty Python, I'd understand the argument, but the writers clearly want us to take many parts of these stories seriously. Is this a goofy show? Yes, but it's difficult to actually become invested in a story that contradicts itself. So, those are my criteria for judging these episodes. We can finally...
1. Cheesiness can be good, but it can also be a hindrance if it conflicts with an episode's tone and is overused. 2. Episodes require some form of logical consistency in order to get an audience emotionally invested. So I guess I disagree with the second one. And I feel like I disagree with it because I agree with the first one, which is that cheesiness can be good depending on the tone of the episode. I feel like logical consistency can be important depending on the tone of the episode is what I would say for the second one here. You would be led to believe that this Doctor is between incarnations, we know, because they have a police telephone box TARDIS. Okay, sure. Or even a future Doctor, yeah. And then you're saying the problem is they made a mistake. Or the fact that they're using a TARDIS here ruins a little bit of the mystery or theory crafting because it's like, damn, you just like, it's like a cheap shot where it's like you're leading us one way, but actually it's the other, and there's no way it can be the other because like that just logically doesn't make sense. Why would the TARDIS exist to a Doctor before the Doctor existed? It doesn't make sense. Let me think. Does that actually bother me? So you're watching an episode, there's like a mystery, you find a TARDIS, you're freaking out, you're like, oh my god, TARDIS, what does this mean? I guess it does, yeah. I guess I can see why that would be an issue.
Move on to the 60th anniversary specials. Thank fuck. Now that the dust has settled on these episodes, I think it's time to look through them in detail and try to gather whether they were the show's salvation or if history is doomed to repeat itself. After that, we'll take a peek behind the scenes to see how the show got to this point. So, without any further ado...
Perfect. That's all we're watching, alright? So, if you're interested, go check out Verdana, the Doctor Who conundrum stuck in a time loop video essay. I don't know. This was... I am interested what this person will think. However, I do think this whole section here veers a bit too close to the Mauler, like, objectivity, kind of setting these criteria for, like, how things should work. I'm not a fan of this kind of analysis, but I know there's a lot of people who like it, so I don't know. or even a future Doctor. Like when a mystery is revealed, all the information should click and make sense. Yeah, I agree. What is he gonna say? I'm so curious. I actually might finish this. Yeah, it's interesting. Let's see. Let me guess. What's he gonna say? Because okay, the first one has issues with the continuity in regard to the meta crisis or whatever, like the Doctor, like Donna being able to survive past her like death date or whatever, like her brain exploding. I could see him having an issue with that. I don't even know. There probably is something to be said about how these episodes, because you're bringing back Tenet, it could be like, it feels like we're trying to go back to the past, and it's like in a loop where it's like, oh my god, Doctor Who is all about change. Why aren't we changing things? Why are we going back to like an old kind of era of the story? That could be a little criticism. I think he will generally like the giggle because of the consistency across the entire series, where it brings back like old companions, it brings back an old enemy. I don't know. That's my guess. Other than that, I don't even know. And it's going to mention the cringe male presenting bit. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I am actually interested in this. I don't know. Maybe I'll watch it off stream. Maybe I won't. Or maybe I'll get you to watch it, Miller. And I'll be like, Miller, what'd you think? Was it interesting? Or maybe I'll paste the transcript into ChatGPT and I'll be like, okay, ChatGPT, give me a 1-paragraph summary of this video. It'll be perfect. And it's going to mention the bi-generation being inconsistent. I don't know. I could take it or leave it. I think the bi-generation is tough to criticize because I think it makes sense. Like, it doesn't take away any mystery like the TARDIS thing. It doesn't break any lore like the previous stuff. I would be interested to see why they would criticize it if they did. I don't know. Mention the bi-generation being consistent. Wait, have you heard what RTD said about bi-generation in the behind the scenes? I vaguely remember something about how it was something weird, something really weird about like how the whole entire timeline of the Doctor split in two or something. I don't remember the details, but I remember thinking, oh, this is a bit weird. I watched until this exact point, then went to sleep, Lamel. Perfect. Not because I didn't like it, was just tired. Well, look at that. I'm not going to go to sleep, but I'm also going to disappear right at this moment. Anyway, if you're interested, go finish that. Let's see how the views are going for this. 664. This is what happens when you wait a week and you don't release it right away. You have fewer views. He said fits. What is this? These things, and I think it fits perfectly. Ah, it fits perfectly. Perfect. My opinion stands for nothing, but I'm leaning toward... Hey, we had someone who agreed with Kyle on one of the arguments. Crazy. I can't believe it. And then we had my amazing... one of the funniest jokes I've ever made. That's... Ready? Listen to this. This is great. A very simplistic point of view, and I don't think you've thought that through very well. And quite frankly, I think it's a sexist point of view. So we're going to keep moving on here. So Rudy is shocked and asks if he
I do enjoy some sexism from time to time.
Yeah, I think that's pretty obvious to anyone listening. But so Rudy is shocked. Yep, got him. Jesus, all right. Anyway, Kyle, uh-oh. Let's see, is Chainsaw Man, have we got 1,000 views yet? Oh my god, the Acolyte, what was that? New trailer 4 minutes ago, let's go. 30 seconds. Actually, do I actually want to watch this? I feel like I've seen enough Acolyte. I don't need to see any more trailers. Yeah, we'll see. About... What was I have to do? Because I didn't like it. About how it has now been retconned that every Doctor has bi-generated or something. Why wouldn't he just put that in the episode if it's true? That is pretty crazy, if that's what he said. Yeah, it was something weird like that, where it's like, the entire history is like changed. I don't know. Maybe he has a grander idea. Maybe it'll be revealed in the finale. It'll all come together somehow. Who knows? Are you watching MHA? I wanted to. So I have to finish Black Lagoon because I'm recording with Kyle tomorrow. And I've also got the Dororo that I need to finish and my triplets of Belleville. So I think I will probably watch My Hero next month. I also wanted to read My Hero because I think that'll be a very... Also, when I get up to date on My Hero, that'll be a fun series to actually do like weekly Just like videos, like short, like 5-10 minute videos or something. Maybe not 10 minutes. That sounds like a ridiculous amount of time. Like short videos to just talk about every chapter. I don't know how many there'll be left, but it could be fun. But I need time. So next month, as soon as I'm done with like these 2 things that I'm trying to catch up with. Disney was listening the whole time. True. My God, they timed this perfectly. You know what? 30 seconds. Let's watch it. Why not? The Acolyte Evolve, streaming June 4th on Disney Plus. Wait, this sped up? No, it's not.
Jedi are being murdered.
You know what? I just changed my mind. I don't want the premise. So far, I don't know anything. The Jedi being murdered, that's enough. I don't need to know anymore. Okay, we're done. You guys can go watch this trailer on your own if you want. I don't want to know the premise of this show. Because it's just coming out so soon. If I just wait like 2 weeks, I'll just get to watch it. I can't believe MHA actually betrayed its main theme. I have to admit. So Miller the other day said that he, like, some latest chapter of My Hero or something was really bad, or like really worrying or something. And that got me really interested. I'm like, this is actually really interesting. Makes me want to read it more, you know? I stopped reading MHA a year ago, I think. Every leak I came across confuses me deeply. Interesting. I did the calculations, and I think I'm 32 chapters behind or something. Which is what, like maybe a day or 2 of reading? It's not really that much. The chapters are so short. Probably Dave Filoni. What happened to Chainsaw?
Hey everybody, how's it going?
That's enough. I don't want you at the moment. All right. That's it, guys. It's over. Definitely not streaming tomorrow. I'm expecting like a 4-hour goddamn Black Lagoon discussion tomorrow. Maybe it'll be shorter. Who knows? The next day, maybe. I also have to get my scripted video out, which, if you're interested, you know, you get weekly updates on Elite RE by becoming a channel member. All you have to do is press the join button below, and in the community tab, you get a bunch of weekly updates. Now, the updates aren't too crazy, okay? You just get like a 1-sentence summary, or sometimes you get like 2 paragraphs of me describing what I've been working on and what's coming up. You also get emotes for the chat, and you get a badge next to your name, so if you're interested, consider that. And also, I don't know if I'm sure you've realized, because I did the same thing last time. I should probably announce that. I should say these things at the end of every stream so people actually, you know, press the join button, so on and so forth. Because I remember that one time, basically I don't remember if I said this on stream or just to Carl when we were recording, but whenever I mentioned that there's a Discord link at the top right, people join the Discord. And I'm like, wow, I guess like saying things in a video actually works. Like maybe I should tell people like subscribe at the end of videos and stuff. It's fun to think about how the series it's fun to think about the series at the moment. Like, what is he thinking? Can you imagine the discourse in a few weeks? If any ships are confirmed, it's going to be historic. That'll be great. I don't know what Miller is even talking about. I'm assuming, Miller said something where I'm like, oh, is this what's happening? What did he say? Something about Rise of Skywalker or something. I'm like, oh, does this mean that, maybe All for One is like going to win or something, which would be sick because I love All for One. He's my favorite character almost. So anyway, don't say anything, Miller. I don't want any confirmation. Okay. Anyway, see you. Thanks for coming. See you probably in a few days.